I'm your friendly neighborhood Web-Warrior Fanatic, and today we are doing a hero tier list, ranking every single hero in Marvel Champions updated for 2026. I'm doing this upon popular request from my live stream. You guys want to see this tier list here before Daredevil comes out, and also after he comes out. So this would be, before he's released here. And yeah, we have every single hero all the way up until Hercules and Wonder Man, the last two heroes released in the Civil War wave. I do want to clarify that this is going to be a true solo tier list here, ranking the power, how strong each hero in Marvel Champions is, their hero kit for true solo. In my personal opinion, I do think that true solo pretty much translates to multiplayer. Like if a hero is very strong in true solo, they're also going to be very strong in multiplayer. Some heroes get a lot better in multiplayer. If a hero that that I'm talking about does get a lot better in multiplayer, I will mention that whenever I'm talking about the hero. But most heroes, if they're good in true solo, they're going to be very good in multiplayer as well. Multiplayer in general is just a little bit less cutthroat, and you can rely on combos with other heroes to pull you through, and you can have other heroes and other players kind of carry you. So in my opinion, true solo is the format where having a power ranking is the most important because you're relying on the hero for everything yourself, right? And yeah, this is going to be completely my opinion, right? I'm not saying that this tier list that I'm going to build right here is like the objective end all be all, just my personal experience playing Marvel Champions. And these are the tier lists that I have right here, like each tier. So for the S tier, there's going to be heroes that can take on heroic mode, standard 2, and expert 2. These are heroes that can easily dominate the expert 1 villains, all those scenarios, and they can like take it a step above and beyond. The A tier here are heroes that can still dominate Expert 1. However, they will struggle into the higher difficulties with Heroic, Standard 2, Expert 2. The B tier here, I split into two parts here because there's going to be a bunch of heroes in the B tier, I think. So these heroes can handle Expert mode generally, but they may struggle with some specific scenarios in the Expert tier, range. And we have like a upper echelon and a lower echelon of the B tier, so B plus and B minus. The C2 heroes, these guys kind of struggle into expert. They are gonna dominate the standard level scenarios though. And we have D2 heroes. These guys are very few, but they are a little bit undertuned. They can generally struggle against all difficulties depending on like the luck of the draw, depending on your hand, stuff like that. And they really need to be like built perfectly, like with the deck building process to take on higher difficulties. But they can definitely handle expert scenarios as well, like some of them, maybe not all of them, with specific decks, right? So these guys just have to be like played perfectly and are generally the weaker heroes in the game. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead and just jump straight into here. We're gonna go like in complete release order because that's how this list is kind of created here. So the first hero is gonna be Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and you guys know Spider-Man is my favorite hero all the time. We haven't put it right here on this side on Hall of Heroes. And yeah, I mean, you guys already know my take. He goes solidly here in the S tier. He can handle every single expert scenario and even above and beyond. He can deal with like the overkill from standard 2 thanks to his backflips here. He has enhanced spiral sense to cancel nasty treachery cards. He's boosting economy, every single turn with his spiral sense. When the villain attacks you, you can draw a card. In Alter Ego, you get a card from that as well with the scientist. Aunt May, probably the best healing card in the game, healing you 4 damage every single time you're in Alter Ego to really bounce back. Yeah, just your basic swing web kick, 3 costs for 8 damage here. Super duper solid hero. Nothing really too much to say. His weaker cards are like the Spire Tracers and the Webbed Ups here, but Spire Tracers have come in super duper clutch. They're still super efficient as long as you have that minion for 1 cost to remove 3 threats. The minion is the part that's like unreliable, but you still can't argue with the cost curve. 1 for 3 is still very good, and a Webbed Up has saved me a lot, especially against the higher difficulties, because the strongest villains, when they activate, they have something, an effect, an ability tied into their activation. So if you can cancel that with the Webbed Up, it's still going to be very good, although it is, a little bit more expensive than you would like. But yeah, Spider-Man, you guys know my take on there. I think that he's one of the strongest heroes in the game. He could definitely handle, all difficulties. Next, we have Captain Marvel here. Captain Marvel with a very limited card pool, with just a core set card pool, is probably stronger than Spider-Man, but with the expanded card pool, and even in the current environment, I think that Spider-Man is going to be more strong than Captain Marvel because of his increased economy, both in hero form and Alter Ego. Captain Marvel in Alter Ego, you can draw a card every single turn, or choose another player to draw a card, so that's very good. And then her action here, you have to actually spend an energy resource and heal damage to draw a card. This, in my opinion, is not as good as Spiral Sense because you're getting a +1 with Spiral Sense every single time the villain attacks, which is every round. Sometimes if the villain attacks multiple times, you get even more boost to your economy. This should kind of like spending a resource, so you're losing, -1, and you get a +1 draw on a card. So it just equals out. You get the healing, which is very nice, but the healing for 1 is usually not the main reason for effect. It's to draw that card. So not as strong as Spider-Man's hero ability and alter ego ability. And then here we have a Spider-Woman, which is a very good Confuse, but the rest of her cards here are a little bit undertuned. They're just very expensive, right? This card here, her Thor event, is not very good. It's 2 to remove 2 threat from a scheme. If you have the arrow trait, then you can take 2 threat more. So it can potentially be, 2, and then for 4 threat removal, but you have to do a different scheme here, which kind of stinks. And I've definitely played this card whenever I need precious threat removal to pay 2 costs to only remove 2 threat because I don't have the arrow trait yet. So that just feels really, really, really bad. Yeah, this card's a little bit undertuned. This card here is also undertuned. 3 cost event deals 5 damage is pretty bad. You can draw a card to make it, 2 for 5, but you gotta use the energy resource kicker, which is not difficult for Captain Marvel. But yeah, still not the best card. This card is, also kind of not that great. This card's pretty terrible in general. You get +1 defense. Captain Marvel almost never wants her defense stat. This card here, it's okay. It gives you the arrow trait, but as an interrupt, when you would take damage, you can discard it to prevent the damage, but then you lose the arrow trait whenever you toss the Cosmic Flight. This card is so good. Her energy channel is like bonkers to help to put an on-demand upgrade on the table that can load up with energy resource and then like pop it for a bunch of damage. And she has extra economy here with the energy absorption, which is a really good triple resource. One of the few heroes that have that. And the Alpha Flight Station is very good in Alter Ego. In hero form, you had this card and then draw, right? So in Alter Ego, it's much better to draw 2 cards. So generally, she is still a very strong hero, right? She has some very good cards with the energy channel, Alpha Flight Station, and then the energy absorption. But the other cards in her kit are just a little bit undertuned. Spider-Woman's also very, very good, by the way. But yeah, because of that, she's gonna go into the A tier here for me. She is still a very solid hero that can definitely handle herself against expert scenarios, but against the higher difficulty, she doesn't have that cancel. She's a little bit more of like a multiplayer oriented hero with the commander here allowing everyone to draw, and she wants to be an alter ego a lot, which is easier in multiplayer, and she doesn't have like the ability to just block out all damage like a backflip that Peter Parker Spider-Man can do. So she's definitely strong in her own right, very, very powerful, but she's gonna go here in the A tier for me. The next hero that we have here is going to be She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters, also from the core set. And She-Hulk, in my opinion, is a pretty underrated hero. So what does she do? So she's very, very tanky. She's got 15 hit points here. She's got 1 thwart, 3 attack, and 2 defense. So her thwarting is not the best, and she doesn't really have the economy of Peter Parker Spider-Man to make up for that because her hand size in hero form is only 4. She does have the alter ego hand size of 6 though, which is very, very good. So you want to flip a lot with She-Hulk, flipping down to alter ego and utilizing the extra hand size. And she gets benefits, from flipping forms, right? In hero form, whenever you change the hero form, you can do 2 damage to enemy. In alter ego, when a threat will be placed on a scheme, you can prevent 1 of it once per round. So very good incentives to flip down. However, she just doesn't have like that many good ways to flip down. Essentially, like no ways to like block out scheme activation or like confuse a villain. Like Captain Marvel has got Spider-Woman as her ally to confuse, which is very good, but She-Hulk doesn't really have that. That being said, I think that with the expanded card pool, She-Hulk has gone a lot better, right? You don't really want to be playing most of her cards, like the Legal Practice and Ground Stomp are not that good, but you can dilute your deck and get other cards to help her boost out her economy and then get her set up. I really like the pool aspect with her, with the triple resources to play out your Focus Rages and your Helicarriers, your Vegetation, all that stuff. Once she gets that going, she can actually be very good. I think that she is a little bit of an underrated hero. I think a lot of people have her like in the C tier or maybe low B. I have her in the high B tier. I do think that she is, above average, a pretty strong hero, with Split Personality being my favorite card for her. This card is insanely good. 3 cost event as an action, change your form, and you draw up to your printed hand size. So you use this to go down to Alter Ego, you can draw up to 6. If you use to go to hero form, you can drop to 4, but either way, it's a free flip. So you can still use your 1 flip per turn to flip back to other form if you want to. Very, very powerful to get, that free access to Alter Ego if you need it. So yeah, She-Hulk, pretty strong hero there. Also going to be able to handle most expert scenarios, and she's like right on that expert level. Next we have Tony Stark Iron Man here. Iron Man, I think, is he's your premier build-out hero. And we got a lot more build-out heroes in Marvel Champions since the core set. But his thing is that he only has a hand size here of 1 in hero form, which is pretty bad. But you get +1 hand size for each tech upgrade you control up to a max of 7. So you can easily build it out with his tech upgrades, right? He's got the arc reactor, which can ready him, which is really good. He's got the Mark 5 helmet. To Thor, he's got the Mark 5 armor. You get extra hit points, and you got your rocket boots and your power gauntlets. So Iron Man, he's one of those heroes that he's difficult to start the game with because of that lower hand size. But I feel it's mitigated because his alter ego his alter ego is very good with the 6 hand size. And Futurist, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand and discard the others. So this is even better than Captain Marvel's draw 1 because you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then choose whatever you want, right? Like if you need a double resource, if you want your tech upgrade, all that stuff. So generally, he will need to flip down at least 1 other turn to really get set up. A lot of times, people like to start off the first turn, stay down alter ego. A lot of the heroic, standard 2, expert 2, they don't give you the breathing room to spend that first turn in alter ego. So Iron Man won't be good in that situation, but he can definitely handle himself, and he's gonna go here in the A tier. Once he gets built out, he's still to this day arguably one of the strongest built out heroes. The problem is getting there, right? Because once you are built out, you have a hand size of 7. That's the best hand size any hero can have. He's got on-demand ready, on-demand thwarting, extra hit points. I think he goes up to like, let's see, +6, +1, so like 8 plus his hit points of 9. He goes up to 17 life. He's got on-demand damage with the power gauntlets here. Just very, very good. You don't even need to draw into any cards. He can do a lot of stuff on demand once you get him built out. So yeah, the problem is getting him built out there is going to be the issue with him. And then the 5th and final hero from the core set, we have Black Panther T'Challa here. We do have the Shuri Black Panther hero, so we're going to talk about her a little bit later when we go over the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But right now we have Black Panther T'Challa here, and he is what I would call like your perfect like middle of the pack hero. I've been saying this for a while. He just goes like straight in the B tier, and there is no middle here. We have like B plus, B minus. So I'm gonna put him here at the end of B plus. But yeah, you could put him at the top of B minus as well. He's like your like right in the middle of the pack type of hero for me. I think that he's not like overly tuned, but he's definitely not undertuned. He's got the style that you want with the 2 Thor, 2 attack, 2 defense, and above average recovery for recovery, and it's got the 11 hit points there, which is also above average. Retaliate 1 is like a nice ability to have, but doesn't really add anything, right? The setup here is good to get extra cards to your hand, but it's only for that setup, right? You can't use this like every single turn. One of my favorite cards with him is going to be the Golden City here. Actually, you can exhaust the draw 2 cards. You do have to flip down in order to do that, though. But with Black Panther, the thing you want to do is you want to play his upgrades right here, and then once they're on the table, unlike Iron Man, they can't activate like on demand to trigger these specials. You have to use a card that can trigger the specials, like the Wakanda Forever here. So here action resolve special ability of each Black Panther upgrade you control in any order. So because of that, he's still a little bit luck dependent here. He definitely handle himself against expert scenarios, but it may struggle with the most difficult expert scenarios, and he will struggle into heroic, standard 2, expert 2, all that stuff. So definitely still a strong hero, but the worst of the core set, in my opinion. That might be a hot take because I do think that She-Hulk is stronger than Black Panther. But I think he's still a good hero and definitely well designed in his own right. All right, so next here, we're done with the core set. Let's hop over to the hero packs from Wave 1. And we have Captain America here. A lot of people's favorites. He is the iconic Captain America representing Marvel. So he is a very, very solid hero. 2 Thor, 2 attack, and 2 defense here. He's got 11 hit points, and I can do this all day, giving him an on-demand ready if you discard a card from your hand. That's just viable, gives him a lot of versatility. And, Captain America, I would say this too, he is one of the most versatile heroes in the game. I think he's well designed that way because, he is Steve Rogers, Captain America. He should be able to, do all things. But actually analyzing his kit, he's missing some things, like he's missing like an encounter card cancel, which in my opinion gives some of the best versatility in the game to give you freedom to, cancel stuff like nasty overkill activations and just stuff like that, right? Like surges, stuff like that. Being able to cancel like one root effects is just very, very powerful. And that's kind of what the heroic standard 2 expert 2 level is all about. So for me, Captain America doesn't quite make it there, but he's very, very close. He's gonna go in between Iron Man and Captain Marvel for me. Still very powerful with the shield blocks here to prevent all damage. I think it's not as good as backflip because shield block does have to exhaust Captain America's shield to prevent the damage. But a better thing about this card than backflip is that it's not. It's when you would take any amount of damage, not just damage from an attack. So you can use it for indirect damage or anything like that as well. So he's got versatility with that. He has Steve's apartment to draw a card, heal a damage from Steve Rogers, only Alter Ego. And he's got the Super Soldier Serum here, where you can exhaust to generate physical resource. 2 copies of 2 extra resource generators is very, very nice. And then the shield here, it's like a pro and con, right? It's a restricted card. You get +1 defense and you gain Retaliate 1, which is great for only 1 cost. But the thing with this is that you usually want to play the shield because you need it for your shield block here, right? So, and you also need it for your shield toss. And the thing is, with your setup, you can get the shield straight to your hand, right? Set up, search your deck, and discard power for Captain America shield, add it to your hand. But you kind of almost have to play it on turn 1 to get like the rest of his cards going with like the shield block and the shield toss. And because of that, you know, your 6-card hand size, you have to spend a resource to play Captain America shield. Yeah, a little bit of a slower start, but definitely can handle all expert scenarios. He's very, very strong in his own right as well. All right, next let's talk about Miss Marvel here. Okay, this may be my most controversial take here. So I do want to say Miss Marvel, I think, is one of the heroes that jumps a lot higher in multiplayer. If you only play multiplayer and you think Miss Marvel is very good, she is very good in multiplayer. She really needs to access her alter ego. She wants to flip essentially every single turn. The problem is she doesn't really have the ability to control the stuff that's happening whenever she's flipped down. Whenever she flips back up, right? You need a lot of board impact right away. You need high tempo, or you need a way to stop the villain, like from activating or something like that, right? Or like confusing, something like that. And Kamala, you know, she has a bunch of persona supports. She has Amir Khan, Bruno Corelli. She has Nakia as well. But all these cards are alter ego actions, so you really want to be an alter ego with Miss Marvel to utilize to maximize her kit. And if you're facing a villain in true solo, and especially heroic, you know, standard 2 expert 2, there's a lot of pressure from the villain. They're very, very high tempo. You won't be able to just flip down and use all this stuff, especially with the way that her kit is designed, because her stuff is a little bit lower impact until you get her set up, right? Big hands, 2 costs of 4 damage, not the best. Sneak by, 2 costs of 3 threat removal, also not the best. You want to really embiggen and shrink that, so when you play attack event, you can increase the damage by 2. When you play Thor event, increase the threat removal by 2. These cards are good, but they do exhaust after you use the effect, so you can only use them, you know, usually once per phase. So because of that, she's a little bit restricted there. She also has a resource generator, the Bioconnect Polymer Suit, but this only generates resources for events, right? So you play this, and for that 1 turn, if you're not playing an event, it's just sitting there on the table, not really doing anything, right? So because of that, I don't think Miss Marvel, I mean, not Captain Marvel, is the strongest hero. I'm gonna put her in the B tier. She can still handle, you know, some expert scenarios, but I think that she struggles going into a lot of the more difficult ones, and she's definitely not above the expert level in my experience playing her. All right, next we got Thor. Okay, Thor. Where do we put Thor, guys? He is a hero that I would have said, like, if you asked me like 1-2 years ago, I definitely put Thor here in the C tier. I think that he can handle, you know, most standard scenarios, but he struggles into a lot of expert stuff because he has a 4-card hand size like She-Hulk, but instead of She-Hulk, where you want to flip down to alter ego, his alter ego hand size is only 5. The 14 hit points is nice, but where you boost Thor's economy is through his ability Have at Thee. After you engage a minion, draw 2 cards. So he is your he's the first really like minion heavy type of hero. You're a classic minion slayer type of hero, and you want to engage minions with Thor. He has cards to do that, like with his Thor event. You can discard until you get a minion, put it in play, engage with you, and then remove 3 threat. So like there's a lot of like RNG, because like if you get a really tough minion, it can be very difficult to deal with. Does getting a minion offset, you know, the way that his cards work? And they have not for a long time. They have not for a long time, but he's gotten a lot better these days because the card pools are so much better, and there's so much more minion-oriented cards in every single aspect now. Whether you're playing in protection and aggression's always had that. But whether you're playing leadership with like squared off, whether you're playing in justice with like infiltration, Thor has like synergy in every aspect now, and he's gotten a lot better because of that expanded card pool with more minion synergy, and he can definitely handle Venom Goblin, Magneto on expert mode. Like he's able to take down those most difficult villains. You know, Loki, standard, all in expert mode now. So I would actually bump him up here to the B tier, and I'm gonna put him above Kamala Khan here. Still in the B minus tier, but yeah, Thor has gone a lot better, guys. He is a lot stronger than before. He can handle himself now with depending on how you build his deck, with better synergies in all the aspects that work more with his kit now. So Thor is bumped up for me. Next, we have Black Widow. Okay, a lot of these Wave 1 heroes are controversial. This is just my experience playing these heroes. Black Widow, I don't think is very powerful. And the reason why, okay, there's a lot of things going on with her kit here. Okay, so she works with preps. Okay, you want to play all these preps down, and then whenever stuff happens, she can, like, you know, counteract that, right? So with like the grappling hook, 2-cost upgrade to prep. Here, interrupt when you reveal treachery. You can discard this card, you cancel the effects of treachery and discard it, right? So you lose this card, but you get a treachery cancel. That's actually really powerful, but it's a hero interrupt. So you can only use it in hero form. That's not the biggest deal in the world, except Black Widow's kit really wants her to also be an alter ego. After you play a prep card, you can draw a card. It's nice having that extra hand size, and she's a little bit squishy with only 9 hit points. So you want to be in alter ego a lot with her. You also have a way to get there with her confuse here. It's 3 costs for 4 threat removal to confuse the villain, which is, you know, it's good to get that confused. So definitely going to be worth it there, even though the threat removal is not the best. It's definitely going to be, you know, it's good for true solo. So I'm not saying, you know, it's terrible or anything like that. But the problem is her economy is not the best. She has 2 copies of Black Widow's Gauntlet, a 1-cost upgrade, but only generates resource for a prep card. And you guys have seen here with all these heroes that are, you know, A tier and above, their economy is usually very good. Economy, I think, is the most important thing in Marvel Champions because it can offset a lot of other things, especially with how you deck build. And, I mean, she does get a little boost here, right? After you play a prep card, you can draw a card, but it's never going to offset the actual cost of the prep card because you're losing at least 1 card in your hand, right? And all the preps in her kit at least costs 1, right? So you have to spend 1 resource, you play the prep, and you draw 1 card back. So you're kind of like, you know, at a minus. And, you know, grappling hook, I think, is probably her best prep. The other preps may not get used sometimes, right? So, like, we have the attacker back here. It's a 1-cost upgrade. Prep card, here interrupt whenever a boost card is turned face up. You discard it, you cancel out boost icons on a card, and deal 1 damage to a villain for each boost icon cancel this way. So, like, this is fine. The thing with this is that I wish I could cancel a scheme activation whenever I'm in alter ego. It canceled a scheme activation, you know, whenever the villain is advancing, like gets an advance to scheme while you're in hero form. But this is so much better if it could just do that in alter ego. Usually you're gonna be canceling out like attacks, but if you're doing that, like canceling the boost for an attack, that means that you're not chump blocking, right? Because if you're chump blocking with an ally, which is, you know, still the strongest strategy of Marvel Champions, hopefully Fear No Evil will change that, and that might make this card even better. But right now, it's kind of a waste to have an ally, block the ally, and then use this card as well, right? So you kind of want to be taking the attack straight to your face as Black Widow. But the thing is, she's not the tankiest hero. You know, she has difficulty healing back up as well. But I do want to mention she does have her Sin Suit here. 3-cost upgrade, she gets +1 defense, and after you trigger a prep card, you can ready up Black Widow. So she does have a cool protection build you can do with that, synergizing with that, but it takes even more build out, right? She needs to get a lot of these preps in play and just set up before she really gets going. So because of that, I think that the higher difficulty scenarios just require way too much tempo for Black Widow to entirely get set up. So because of that reason, she's going to go here. She can handle herself against expert scenarios, but the higher tempo the villains are, the slower that she gets. So I don't think that she is going to be as strong as Kamala Khan here. All right, the next hero we got Doctor Strange. Okay, all right. Oh man, I keep on saying this, but it's going to get less controversial the further we get down the list, guys. But the start of this is going to start pretty controversial with Wave 1. Okay, so I'm gonna direct any controversialness over to my buddy Villain Theory. So in Villain Theory's tier list, he put Doctor Strange behind Spider-Man. And I've been saying this for a very long time. I did not pay Villain Theory off to do that. He even said that I did not pay him off. So you guys gotta trust us, right? We're both saying it. We're both corroborating that I did not pay him off. So I do think that Spider-Man is stronger than Doctor Strange here. Because I think that Doctor Strange struggles more into the higher difficulty scenarios. Now, that being said, Doctor Strange can completely demolish the ear scenarios, right? Like, I think that against, like, I don't know, against standard Rhino, I think Doctor Strange is stronger than Peter Parker Spider-Man, right? He can just confuse lock, stats, like all that stuff. But the thing is, heroic, standard 2, expert 2, that's when our stats are a lot less powerful because, with standard 2, with the environment, the villain gains steady. With heroic mode, they get extra activation. So even if you block out one activation, they might activate again. So how do you handle those activations? Well, Spider-Man can scale with Spider Sense. Doctor Strange does not scale with higher difficulties, right? He's really good at winning more against easier scenarios. So, you guys know about his kit probably already, but he's got an invocation deck. So, these 5 cards right here are his invocation deck. As an action, you can exhaust him and pay the cost of the top card of that deck, and you trigger the special on that card. These are super duper cost efficient. Like, 0 cost to draw 3 cards is insane. However, there is some variability, right? Because you don't know which card you're going to have on top always. And the order here could be something that does not favor you. So, you want to use abilities like his alter ego thing to, like, get rid of the top card to cycle through the invocation deck. Wong, with his ability, can also discard top card invocation deck to help you cycle through that deck more easily. But all the effects here are, very good. He can give toughs too. So a lot of people say that he's stronger in multiplayer. Some people say he's better in true solo. I think that it's kind of a wash, right? This card makes him scale very good in multiplayer because you can give up to 3 characters each a tough status card. So he hands it out to a bunch of heroes. However, stun lock, confuse lock is much more powerful in true solo. So, like, Doctor Strange is a wash in terms of my opinion of like how strong he is scaling from true solo to multiplayer. I'm gonna put him actually in the A tier. I put him at the top of the A tier. But I'm dropping him down because we've gotten new heroes, and I don't want to have more than like 7 heroes in my S tier. And I think that Doctor Strange will blow the S tier up too much at this point. In my other lists, doing hero tier list, ranking every single hero, Doctor Strange has always been in the S tier, near the bottom of the S tier, but I'm dropping him down here for the first time because I feel more brave doing that now, because Villain Theory did not have Doctor Strange in, like, I think like his top 7 or 8 heroes either. He had him in that second echelon of tiering. So because he did that, I think it's okay for me to do that as well, right, guys? Right? So yeah, if you do not agree with that, that's okay. I had so many videos debunking the myth of Doctor Strange being so much more powerful than any other hero in the game. With, like, there's a myth where people say that you can defeat expert scenarios, expert Venom Goblin, playing Doctor Strange with 25 blank cards. That's essentially like using just his hero cards here, and you have 25 cards that you can just use as a single resource card, right? And I've debunked that. It is not even close to being possible. I think that he struggles even against Claw with the 25 blank cards. I played it on my channel, guys, endlessly. We've done that several times, and yeah, it's just not true. I don't know why the myth got so crazy with Strange. I don't think that he is currently an S tier hero anymore because of we just gotten more heroes now, and he's not like one of those like very, very high up ones there. That's just my personal opinion. If you have any complaints, don't take it up with me. Take it up with Villain Theory. Go over to Villain Theory's video. Go over to his channel and take it up with him, guys. Don't take it up with me. Okay, so that's Doctor Strange there. All right, next hero we got Hulk here. This one's gonna be a lot less controversial. Most people think that Hulk is the weakest hero in all Marvel Champions. He's got the 4 hand size in hero form, and the only hero with a negative. Actually, no, he's not the only hero. He is one of the few heroes with a negative hero ability. I think there's one more that I'm gonna mention soon. But Enrage is a force interrupt. When your turn ends, discard your hand. That's bad. So you cannot save cards in your hand as Hulk. And with only a 4 hand size, if you're not able to play, whatever that you want to keep, you can't keep. You have to toss it if you end your turn in Hulk form. For Bruce Banner here, though, only 5 hand size when you have 4 hands in hero form is tough. Experimental Resource as an action, draw 1 card, and you got this card from your hand. So you're not even gaining anything. You're just, drawing 1, discarding 1, no net bonus. 18% hit points is the highest in any hero in the game, which is good. But the rest of his cards are not costed great here, right? This is 3 costs to remove 3 threat, potentially 5 with only physical resources, which is still not the best. Thunderclap, 3 costs to do 3 damage to 3 different enemies. Niche ability can be very good if you get it off to like take out 3 minions, right? The triple resource is nice, but only spend in hero form. Not the craziest thing. So yeah, I think this is not a very hot take here. Hulk's gonna go in the D tier, undertuned. A lot of people would say that he's at the bottom of the D tier. They would make another tier for him. I think that he has gotten stronger though, and I think that if you want to play him in leadership with like a suit up Avenge Me deck, he can handle all expert scenarios. He goes like up to the B tier here. However, that's just one build in one aspect, so I think it's not fair to bump up so high with that. In the other aspects, you can play him Rush and Aggression, which is also pretty viable. But the other aspects, I think he's going to struggle with even standard level villains here. So he is definitely under tuned here. Our first D tier hero, but definitely not our last. And I don't think he's going to end up at the very bottom of the D tier when we're all done with this list. Okay, so next we got the Rise of Red Skull. Okay, all right, this is perfect. So speaking of D tier heroes, we have Hawkeye here. Hawkeye, like on paper, isn't actually on paper he's not great either with the one Thor, two attack, one defense. But with his economy though, he's got 6 card hand size in Alter Ego, 5 card hand size in hero form. So like, why is he so bad? Like, why do I think he's not that good? Well, okay, the thing with Hawkeye is that he's bottlenecked by his air events or by his his bow right here actually, right? So all of his events here, Sonic Arrow, you got the Electric Arrow, you got the Cable Arrow, they all say as a cost, additional cost to like the actual cost that you pay for the card, exhaust Hawkeye's bow. So you have to exhaust the bow to do this ability. If your bow gets exhausted during the villain phase, like the villain says like, exhaust all your upgrades, something like that, then you cannot play any events during the hero phase. You do have a way to do that though by using your action quick draw. You can exhaust Hawkeye to rev his bow. But if you exhaust your own identity to rev the bow, I mean, your identity with the bow, you get +1 attack. You could swing for 3 with your basic activation for free. So, like, if you're playing like an attack event, like let's say you're playing the Electric Arrow here, for example, right? Well, if you're exhausting yourself to rev the bow to play an Electric Arrow, it's just 2 costs to do 3 damage to enemy and stun the enemy, which I'm not saying is bad at all, but you also have to look at the opportunity cost of you exhausting Hawkeye to do that. If it's not your first area event, right? Especially if it's not your first, or if this got exhausted some way, right? So like, even if you have like a Sonic Arrow and Electric Arrow and you have the economy to play both, well, do you want to exhaust Hawkeye to play both? Because if you don't, you can't play both. You have to only play one, because each time you play one of the arrow events, you have to exhaust the bow here. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. So yeah, because of that, I think he's pretty bottlenecked. Like Hulk is not really bottlenecked by that. Hulk, if you get him set up, you get his economy built out, he's very strong, right? He's like basically like any other hero after you get him built out. Hawkeye, no matter how built out you get, he's always gonna have this bottleneck right here, not being able to play unlimited area events, even if you have the economy to pay for its printed costs. And the Quiver here, it's also not a great card. Look at top 5 cards of your deck for air event, attach it to this card. I've whipped countless times on this. There's currently only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's only 10 area events in a potentially 40 card deck, right? So you have like you have a decent chance of whiffing it, especially if you drew and played a lot of them already. It's not great odds. The more that you increase your deck size, the harder it is to hit with this. And I've whipped like several turns, like back to back to back, which feels the worst because he really needs extra economy. Mockingbird is not a bad ally. She's just kind of expensive to constantly play her, especially for Hawkeye. But when a villain attacks you, can block all the damage by spending a resource. But like, you return her back to your hand, so then you have to play her back down again. It's just Hawkeye can't afford. Another hero could afford this and take a lot more advantage of it, but he can't. His resource generator, I hate these type of resource generators that only work for a specific thing with the restriction. They only generate a wild resource for an area event. Not great in my opinion, guys. So yeah, in my opinion, Hawkeye is weaker than Hulk. And I don't even know if that's a hot take. I think some people would agree with that, because Hulk, if he gets set up, he's actually very strong. There's actually builds with Hulk that you can defeat Ronin, Magneto, Venom Goblin. I've done it all on my channel. Hawkeye, I have not done it on my channel. I think that maybe it's possible, but you need so much luck that I'm not even gonna attempt it, right? It's gonna take so many tries. So yeah, that's just a whole nother thing there. I think Hawkeye, he's gonna. I mean, I've attempted actually, and I've lost several times. So yeah, you guys can check those videos out where I've lost. So I did forget that I did attempt it actually against Ronin, I believe. Yeah, and we took some big fat L's. I think did I face Magneto too? I think so. But yeah, in multiplayer though, Hawkeye is more viable, right? I played a game with Hawkeye and Thor taking down expert Ronin in multiplayer, right? Higher player counts, guys. You guys this list definitely is not going to be, you know, D tier. You know, they're undertuned, but in multiplayer, they're definitely viable. Like, they totally work in multiplayer, right? So this is more of a true solo list here. I do think that Hawkeye needs help in multiplayer, right? Like, he's not going to be carrying anyone in multiplayer, but definitely a lot more viable. All right, let's go. Oh, we're still in the Rise of Red Skull. So the other hero here is going to be Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew. Oh man, oh whoops, clicked on a card. This is gonna be another controversial take, I think. So some people say it's like she's like the strongest here in the game. Okay, I have a new argument for this. Okay, so her deck building ability, you can use two aspects instead of one when you're deck building with her, which is very good. It's a very powerful ability, right? You can use two aspects. Okay, but the way her kit works is that she has a restriction where you need to be playing aspect cards. So it's interesting about whenever you play an aspect card, she gets +1 to all of her stats. That's very good. Here, Exhaust Finesse generate a wild resource only for aspect cards. So if you're not playing aspect cards, if you're playing her own cards, like Captain Marvel or Jessica Drew's apartment, or you're playing basic cards, they have anti-synergy with her kit, okay? So you want to be playing two aspects with her. A lot of her hero cards are also aspect cards, which is very nice. So they synergize with the hero ability and with finesse, right? Okay, so the way that I want to make my point here with her is that if you are playing like a heavy, let's say, leadership and a heavy justice deck, right? So leadership and justice as the two aspects. That's great, right? She can maximize both leadership and justice and the synergies between those two aspects. However, you're not playing basic cards. And a lot of people, myself included, can make the argument that basic cards are some of the strongest cards in the game of Marvel Champions, with like the Helicarrier, Quinn Carrier, Avengers Mansion, Nick Fury. You know, your basic package is just very, very good. And if you were to ask me if I had to pick, you know, two things, if I can either like include a deck, build a deck with only leadership and aggression, or leadership and basic, I'll make the argument that leadership and basic is more powerful. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, wait, you can just still include those basic cards with Spider-Woman. Well, not really, because if you're playing a bunch of basic cards with her, she gets completely neutered. Like, her card or her deck feels very clunky. It's not going to be good if you're putting a bunch of basic cards in her kit, because finesse is like clunkier. Do you even want to play it if you're playing a heavy basic deck? The Jessica's department won't hit cards as often, because if you don't get any aspect cards with it, it'll whiff, which is uncommon, but possible if you have a bunch of basic cards. Her hero ability is almost useless if you're playing a basic deck with her, right? So even though you can play her with a basic deck, like a basic deck with leadership cards or whatever, it's going to be difficult because you need to include an equal amount of cards from two aspects. So you need to still have, you know, like 5 leadership cards, 5 aggression cards, and the rest basic cards, but her kit's just not going to run smoothly. So very good to run two aspects. However, two aspects is weaker than one aspect and basic cards. So because of that, she is our first C tier hero in my experience, and I think that she can handle standard scenarios. She can handle a lot of extra scenarios, but the stronger, more difficult extra scenarios she struggles with. So I do not think that she's on the caliber of these other heroes up here. Yeah, and I kind of want to drop Black Widow down now that I'm looking at it. Um, yeah, we're gonna drop Black Widow down. I think Black Widow, I think you can, no, I think that Black Widow is still better than Spider-Woman here. Or do I, no, I think, I know, I think I'm gonna put Black Widow a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna drop Black Widow down because the sub that she needs, I think, I think it's a lot slower than Spider-Woman, because like although she can capitalize off basic cards, I think that Spider-Woman's ability to be more high tempo and flexibility within aspects is more viable than needing to set up so much with Black Widow. So I think we're gonna drop Black Widow down to C tier, um, below Spider-Woman. Yeah, let's have like that. Okay, let's move on to the next hero here, and we have Ant-Man. Okay, Ant-Man is a hero that I enjoy a lot, but this is not a fun tier list. It is a power tier list. Unfortunately, I do think that Ant-Man is quite powerful. So he goes in the A tier. Let's put him in A tier for now. Let's put him in A tier. Actually, is he stronger than Iron Man? Ah, I'm gonna put him above Iron Man. At the same time, okay, I think it's close. So, okay, Ant-Man is your first three-sided hero here. He has three forms: tiny form, tiny hero form, alter ego, and then giant form here. Your giant form, you have a 4-card hand size, so you don't usually want to end your turns in giant form, but you do have 3 attack, 3 defense. In his tiny form, though, you know, he has a 5-card hand size. Alter ego, he's got 6-card hand size. And each time you, as a response, flip to one of these forms, you can trigger that ability there, which is very nice. You want to flip forms a lot, and resize is the best way to do that. Zero cost event, you can draw a card to cancel its effective resource cost, but also change your other hero form, which is very, very nice. So you can flip up, you know, to your giant form, get the response here, play resize, go over to tiny form, get this response as well. My favorite thing about Ant-Man is this army of ants here is very good. If you're in tiny form, you can exhaust it, deal damage to enemy. This on demand, very similar to Iron Man. And then he's got the Ant-Man's helmet here. After you change the giant form, heal 2 damage for a hero. Change the tiny form, you can draw a card. And he's also got the wrist gaunts here for the stun and confuse. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's very, very good. He's very powerful. He can definitely handle himself. I'm gonna put him in bottom A tier here. I'm putting him behind Iron Man. I think that Iron Man, whenever like he's set up, he can just handle himself much more easily. And Ant-Man does have a lot more of a high tempo, but I don't think that he's at Iron Man's level here. In terms of that fully built out board. So yeah, I may drop Ant-Man down to B+, but let's keep him here at the bottom A tier for now. All right, the next hero here is going to be the counterpart to Ant-Man. We have Wasp. And Wasp, I do not think is anywhere close to Ant-Man. She's also a 3-sided hero here, alter ego, tiny form, and giant form. Her giant form actually has a hand size of 5, though, which is, you know, pretty good. But the thing with her cards is that she's basically only good in giant form whenever I'm playing her. And maybe it's just because I haven't like figured out the way to play her good in tiny form, but I just feel like her tiny form is just not useful, right? She only has 1 Thor, 1 attack, and 2 defense. So it's like, this is not good. Her response though is after Wasp defeats a minion or side team, you can do 1 damage to villain. I don't really need this unless I'm rushing down to villain. And if I'm rushing down to villain, why do I only want to have 1 attack? Like, that's not that useful, right? Her pinpoint strike, it deals more damage if you're in tiny form. Deals 7 damage. If you're in tiny form, it deals 1 additional damage and gets overkill. So it's just 3 for 8 with overkill, which is like good. It's like Spider-Man level, but like only if you're in tiny form where you have 1 attack. So like you can't boost her attack though. She's got her Wasp helmet here. While you're in tiny form, you get +1 attack. So you go up to 2 attack, which is like, I mean, it's just 2 attack. But in giant form, you get +1 Thor. So in giant form, I already have 2 Thor. I'm going to 3 Thor. Like, I just want to spend a whole game in giant form. So because of that, all the cards that work with tiny form or like flipping forms aren't as good if I'm always just being in giant form. And I found her to be strongest in my opinion whenever I'm just playing her in her giant form. She has some cool mental resource synergy here in alter ego. You can shuffle up to 2 cards with the printed mental into your deck from discard pile, but like you're not adding anything to your hand. It's nice just have it in your deck like a Nick Fury or a Moon Girl, but like no net economy to your hand, right? Just getting an extra resource is more valuable than this type of ability, even though this is a fun ability to use. So yeah, I mean, she's really got essentially no economy, right? I mean, she's got her pin particles. If you spend this card, you can heal 2 damage if you're in giant form, or draw a card if you're in tiny form. But like, it's only a 1 resource that's wild, which is good. And you can draw a card after you spend it, but it's like, you don't have 2 copies in the deck, right? It's not like something on demand like with their hero build or anything like that. So like, yeah, her economy just feels rough in general, and like her kit just feels clunky to me. So she's gonna go somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. I don't know, guys. Where are we putting Wasp? Let me think. Okay, let's compare to these guys that I have here. So, you know, I kind of want to drop Miss Marvel. Is putting her in B tier too generous? Because now that I'm seeing these heroes down here, I don't know if Miss Marvel. Oh man, I'm dropping Miss Marvel. Sorry to all the Kamala Khan fans. I know there's a lot of big Miss Marvel fans. I think Spider-Woman's better than Miss Marvel, right? I think she's stronger than Miss Marvel. Yeah, I think just that requirement to like be an alter ego, to need to be an alter ego for those personas, I feel like, and she needs to get set up as well. Yeah, I'm dropping her down because like comparing Wasp to them, I feel like Wasp isn't. Yeah, Wasp is for sure better than Kamala. She's either like here or like around here-ish. Let me think here. Spider-Woman, Wasp. I think we're gonna put Wasp in B tier. Yeah, I think Wasp is stronger than Spider-Woman here. You can still just build like a basic package with Wasp. You have Moon Girl, you got Nick Fury, you got the mental resource synergy stuff going on with leadership as well. Yeah, she can be very powerful. She can rush in aggression. This can do a lot more damage for you, right? Yeah, I think Wasp Kit is just more universal if you pick and play how you want to play her. I think that if you're leaning into like her cards, you get split in different directions, but you don't have to do that. So yeah, she goes here in the B tier. I think that Thor is better than all these guys, which is probably a super hot take, but that's just my personal experience. I've defeated, yeah, like Venom Goblin, like almost I think in every aspect with Thor. That's on the channel, so I don't know if I played Venom Goblin with Wasp before on the channel. I believe we lost. I believe. Yeah, so yeah, that's difficult. I faced Venom Goblin with Saruman as well, and she's a loss there as well. And I'm saying Venom Goblin. He's not my like all like end all be all, but Thor has defeated like a bunch of other scenarios like weaker than Venom Goblin as well, right? Like Magneto, um, Enchantress, Loki, Thanos, all that stuff. So yeah, I think Thor can actually handle himself at this point better than Wasp and Spider-Woman. That's just my personal experience, and all my players are on the channel, guys. So you guys can watch those if you guys don't believe me. But that's just my personal experience playing these heroes. All right, next we got QuickSilver. Oh man, we are filling out the bottom here. Okay, so we got QuickSilver here. Okay, you guys know I like to call QuickSilver Slow Silver because he's supposed to be fast with all the ready, but he has a 1-1-1 stat line and his economy is not that good. You need to build out with QuickSilver, and you need to build out with his with these cards down here, his upgrades, which all cost 2 or more. +1 attack, +1 Thor, and +1 defense. Once you get to stats up higher, then whenever he's readying in, every single turn with his or every single phase with his hero ability, you get more benefits. But with just the 1-on-1, it's not as good. And then you have your regenerate with the friction resistance, but it's 3 costs to play. So like you gotta afford it the first time to like get him going, right? And without this card, he's completely like useless. You need to have friction resistance to play as QuickSilver. It can generate a physical resource, and after you ready up, you can ready up this card. So QuickSilver with a fully built out board is, arguably one of the strongest heroes. But he gets built out more difficult than Iron Man, in my opinion, especially in true solo. But with help in multiplayer, you can definitely get there. And I think that he's only strong built out in multiplayer. So he's one of those heroes that go a lot higher in multiplayer because he can stay down in alter ego, and just like slowly build out his board. But I think in true solo, he's really gonna be a lot more difficult to do that. He's gonna go in the C tier too, guys. Oof. Put him around here. Um, definitely. You can mix and match these guys, I think. I'm putting him behind Black Widow. I don't think he's that powerful. All right, guys. Next hero, we got Wanda, Scarlet Witch. I should have went in reverse order here because I don't like doing the controversial ones first. It's gonna be controversial, guys. I know some people have Scarlet Witch in S tier, some people have her in the A tier, and I've had her in the A tier for a hot minute. But after playing her more, shouts to Nar Antlers who requested I play Scarlet Witch for custom gameplay requests. That really made me feel this way. So I'm putting the blame on him. I think Scarlet Witch is B tier. I think she can still handle herself. I think she's still better than She-Hulk and Black Panther. But she's still a strong hero in her own right, right? Like Hexbolt, it's crazy. 2 costs, you get all these effects. You can draw a bunch of cards. You land a bunch of 2s with the boosters, right? She's manipulating that encounter deck. She's accelerating it by discarding counter cards, and where boost is on that, she gets different effects on her abilities. This is the most minor thing, but I do think that that's not the best thing for the player to be accelerating the encounter deck. So I think that that's kind of a disadvantage, but it's not that big of a deal at all. The thing is that she doesn't really have like, I feel like a lot of times when I'm playing her, I'm just drawing cards, leading into mystic stuff more than actually impacting the board. And there's a lot of RNG in terms of these effects here. Even if you get her chaos control and you get like her crest in play to like manipulate those boost icons, it's still a little bit difficult there. And then her economy is not the best, right? Economy is like one of those huge things. Agatha, it's like her big economy card. RTO action, exhaust her, look at top 3 cards, add a 1 to your hand, place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. This is so good. This is really good, but it's only an alter ego. Still very good though. And if she can access a confuse if she gets the the 3+ tier to place a stats card on a character. But once again, for the S tier here, for there's a lot more steady, especially with standard 2 with that environment, giving the villain steady. It's gonna be a lot more difficult to manage. And I do feel really squishy when I'm playing her. Like she looks fine with the 10 hit points there, but I feel like I'm like always low on health when I'm playing Scarlet Witch. So yeah, for those reasons, I think that she can definitely handle herself against the extra scenarios. But not A tier. She's not above that in my experience playing her. I do want to add though, she does have a, like in my opinion, the best cancel in Marvel Champions. Um, no, maybe not the best, but like one of the best. The Warp Reality is just really good here. One cost event, hero interrupt, only hero form, but when an encounter card is revealed in the counter deck, cancel all the effects and discarded. Discard from top of the encounter deck equal to the boost icons. So a little bit milling, but it's like not that big of a deal, like I said before. But this is just a really good cancel. So like she should be higher, but everything else in her kit, I think, just drops her a little bit lower here. So yeah, the way that her kit works, like with each other, I don't feel the most synergy, especially in aspects as well. I feel like what she really wants to do is just play her cards. And I don't feel like that the expanded card pool really like buffed up her kit, especially because we have not gotten like any new Misses cards that are like very, very good, right? So yeah, she's solid, but not crazy. All right, we're moving on to the Guardians now. All right, we gotta look at the player cards here. All right, so first we got Groot. Oh man, okay. We're really filling out. Okay, so Groot, I think this is another hot take. Groot goes here for me. Groot goes here. I think he's actually better than Spider-Woman and these heroes here. Yeah, I like Spider-Woman is probably still, I don't know if she still is. For a very long time, she was my lowest win rate hero. So like this is just based off my personal experience playing these heroes, guys. And I've taken a lot of L's with her. They're all on the channel too. If you guys want to see me lose, you probably just Google like Spider-Woman game and you'll probably see me take a big fat L. Um, and Groot can handle himself. I think he's pretty underrated. So like the worst thing about Groot is that for Colossus is a forced interrupt. So when he would take any amount of damage, you have to remove that growth counter from him instead, that amount. And then you can prevent one of the damage, right? So you have to do that. If you were given the choice, if this was just a regular interrupt, Groot would be a lot more powerful, but you don't have the choice. You have to do it, right? So that's the thing there. He needs to be an alter ego to trigger the growth spurt to get those growth counters. So you want to like constantly flip back and forth. I think is with like Ready for Fight Protection, he works really well. Now you can flip down with him every single turn. Fertile Ground is his best card. You can get a growth counter and draw a card. And the growth counters are huge for Groot because a lot of his cards synergize off of those growth counters, right? Like with the I Am Groot. Do damage equal to your growth counters. I Am Groot Thor event, remove threat equal to your growth counters, right? So I've taken off 10 threat before because the max is 10. 10 threat move for 3 costs. Very good. I think Groot also goes up in multiplayer as well. So yeah, Groot's a very solid, very tanky hero. You really just need to get his growth counters. If you have a way to constantly get that, then he's very good. If you're stuck, not able to replenish that, then he's not going to be as good. So he goes into B tier for me, but in the bottom of the B tier. All right, next we got, oh, wait, we're still on here. We're still on the Galaxy Most Wanted box. We got Rocket Raccoon here. Rocket Raccoon, he's so squishy. He's very squishy. He only has 9 hit points. You can build it up with his cybernetic skeleton, getting him +3 more, so he goes up to like 12 life. But yeah, the best thing about Rocket, in my opinion, is that tinkering is an action alter ego, choosing his card type upgrade control to draw 2 cards. That's very nice. He's also a hero that gets better in multiplayer because you have other heroes blocking for you, and you can be an alter ego more often to play your techs to tinker them and get rid of them and then draw cards. So that's very good. You want to play all your tech upgrades to use your weapons and all that. His only real economy is losing a card here, right? You have to discard your tech to get that plus draw. And then for hero ability here, after you do excess damage to enemy, like minions, you can draw a card. So that's good as well. But they're both contingent on something else happening, right? You don't get that on turn 1. Unless you like play a tech upgrade and immediately discard, which usually is not gonna give you a net bonus unless it's like an energy shield, which is 0 cost tech upgrade. But he doesn't have anything in his kit that's 0. So yeah, Rock's a tough one to rank. Also, like in that lower B to C tier level here. I think because we got a lot of X-Men here, I'm gonna put him here. Because we're gonna have a lot more, I think, in the higher tiers. So we may end up like dropping even Thor down a little bit, depending on where everyone goes, right? Because everything is like, the list is dependent on where other heroes go in the list, right? So if like there's a hero that's like, if there's a hero that's, I believe, goes in the B minus tier, but then there's like better heroes in that B minus tier. Then we gotta drop that hero right down to like the C tier if they're not in the same tier. So I don't think Rocket's on like the level of Groot and Wasp and Thor. I think he's behind Spider-Woman, right? I'm gonna put him. I'm put him above Kamala. I think is a good spot for him. All right. Next we got Star-Lord. Ooh, okay. Star-Lord is a controversial hero in himself because so he's all about the risk. What could go wrong? Interrupt when you would play a card from hand, do yourself face on counter card, and reduce the cost of that card by 3. Then once per round. So Star-Lord, I think I'll say he's the best. Is he the best rush hero? Deadpool's gonna give him a run for his money. There was a time where I thought Deadpool completely outclassed Star-Lord, but I think that with the digging deep Star-Lord deck where you're milling your deck with like Gamora, Star-Lord's still up there. I think if you are building out with Star-Lord like going slow, he's probably B minus, right? If you're like trying to deal with the encounter cards as you go, but especially rushing in true solo, he's arguably like Esther, right? He can handle like those crazy scenarios by just ignoring the encounter cards and just going gung ho. So I think we balance it out here and we just put him. I think we just put him here in the A tier, or on the top of B. Let's put him on the top of B. Let's put him on the top of B because I think that it takes very specific builds for him to be that way. So yeah, he can definitely. I may bump him up. He can definitely like there's a leadership build where you try to kill the villain in like 1, 2, or 3 turns, where you're just milling your deck, getting resources with like digging deep, with like call for 8, where it's very, very good. But that's all in the legacy environment now anyways, so it's like it's harder to build that deck. And then with other decks where you're like building out, he's not gonna be as powerful. So I think B plus is a fair spot for Star-Lord. But if we're talking about like any one deck, he may have maybe the best deck, but it's like it's not the most. It is very consistent though, is the thing, but it's not the most consistent because you're still rushing at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that yeah, he's gonna go there in the B tier for me. All right, next we got Gamora. All right, Gamora. Oh man, Gamora's a hero that I'm not a big fan of. I think she goes in the B minus here, above Wasp, behind Thor. She's event focused, and she has a restrictive resource generator with the keen instincts, generate a water resource, but only for an attack or authority event. After you play an attack event, you can do 1 damage to enemy with her sword here. And she has a bunch of, authority events, attack events, all that stuff. And then usually the kicker is if you have played an attack event, this turn, then you get like extra effects to that. So you just want to play a bunch of events. Very good at rushing, not as good as Starlet not as good as Starlet at rushing, and not as good as a lot of other heroes at rushing as well. Because you want to be playing Thor events and attack events to really maximize her kit. So yeah, I think she's okay. I think that she's very difficult to build out with. Like building out, she is maybe like in the C tier even. So, but I think even that out, she goes here in the B tier for me. Solid, just playing events, but against like the hard difficulty expert scenarios and against like heroic standard 2 expert 2, she's nowhere near that type of level. Next we have Drax. Man, I feel like every hero I'm doing is just controversial here. All right, so Drax is gonna be another hot take from me. Okay, so Drax has a force response and alter ego. After you change his form, you must remove all vengeance counters and a huge damage for each vengeance counter that you remove. His response in hero form though is after villain attacks, you get a vengeance counter here to a max of 3. If you cannot, you draw a card. So the thing with Drax is that he has 14 printed hit points, which is very high. Only 4 hand slots in hero form though, but 6 in alter ego. You want to build out those vengeance counters because all of his cards revolve around the vengeance counters. However, there's literally no other way to add vengeance counters other than with the hero ability here. So you have to take attacks from the villain to the face to build Drax out. He also gets +1 attack for each vengeance counter on him. The thing with that is that you cannot chump block with allies, and chump blocking is still the strongest strategy in Marvel Champions. So because of that, you're always taking attacks to the face with Drax, which completely demolishes, I'm drawing from the wrong thing there. We need to put from here, which is good against easy scenarios, but for villains that hit hard, and even in standard mode, there are villains that can hit hard, like Ronin or a Magneto, right? They can still hit you quite hard in standard mode. Can Drax take those hits? And he just cannot. The only way is with parry, when you would take any amount of damage, prevent X equal to your double your attack. But if you get this on like a round 1, your attack may still just be 1, so you can prevent 2 damage with the parry. It's not very good. So yeah, I mean, you need the parry is great, but you still need it. You still need to build your vengeance counters first before getting into a parry. So Drax, in my opinion, because of the way that he plays, it's very constricted. Like, yeah. So like Hulk, for example, right? You can build Hulk any type of way. As long as he's built out, he can still do his thing and do whatever you need him to do. He can still play multiple events per turn and like go for like a huge push. You guys have probably seen my favorite Hulk that I ever played against Venom Goblin, where I played 2 Hulk smashes in 1 turn, drawing up to like, I don't know, maybe like 20 cards because of the card draw and leadership. Like 2 Hulk smashes, that's 23 damage there with Hulk with 1, big attack swing, right? I don't think Hawkeye can ever generate that amount of damage. And Drax may be able to, because you reduce the cost here for his attack event. His Knife Leap here. Reduce the cost to play this card by 1 for each vengeance card you control. We make base attack, you get +5 for the attack. So like you can play both of them, you have them both in hand. So he's hitting for +10. And then he also has the +3 attack here with the 3 vengeance count. So it's 4 + 10, 14 damage with 1 swing. But then you need them both in your hand, and you're not able to draw as much there with Drax, even with the fully built out board, to consistently have them both in your hand, like with Hulk. Because with Hulk, I was able to draw like the bottom half of my deck, and I knew both the Hulk Smash were in there, so I was able to get that to line up. But Drax can't do that. So because he's forced to play in a way where he has to take attacks to the face, there's no other way to play Drax other than taking villain attacks to the face. And I think that is wild, because if the villain has like Magneto adding magnetic counters each time he attacks you, or Venom Goblin also tied into his attack, he's like triggering the main scheme specials. Like a lot of villains have ability that's activated whenever they attack you. Like Ultron's giving you drone mins each time he attacks you, right? So each time like that happens, it's bad for Drax, and he's gonna go in the D tier. Um, I think Hawkeye is still weaker than him, because being bottlenecked by those counters, I think is tough. Or being bottlenecked by the bow, I mean, is tough. Drax, at least, I mean, he's bottlenecked by taking villain attacks to the face, but whenever he's rolling, he can be very good. I think in multiplayer, he jumps up because you have more breathing room. He's another one of those heroes that are a lot better multiplayer, but in true solo, I think, okay. I'll say this. In multiplayer, I think he's better than Hawkeye. I think in true solo, no, we're gonna keep Hawkeye here. I think Hawkeye. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely make the case for I mean, Drax being under tuned in true solo. Yeah, I do want to say, for everyone that loves Drax, I know a lot of people love the design. If you get him going, he gets going. The problem is getting him there is much more difficult than with like Iron Man or like any of these other build out heroes here, right? He's just difficult to get to the state where you can really get him going. Next we got Venom. This is my last hot take here. Let's look at this here. I think he's my last hot take, guys. Okay, we have like some of the X-Men stuff, but like we're gonna be like smooth sailing in a little bit. Okay, Venom is another hot take for me. A lot of people love him. A lot of people think he's better than Peter Parker's Spider-Man, which I think is blasphemy. Um, okay, so Venom works with his weapons here. Semi Bond is you can take a damage generated wall resource, which looks very good on paper. But the thing for me is that I get his life very low with this. He does have the 12 hit points, which is very good to mitigate that. But yeah, it's not a thing that I want to be just using every single turn. But it's definitely helpful. And then you need that to hit the kicker for all of his events here, right? They all have like a kicker. 2 to remove 3 threat, but if you compare this using only mentals, you can confuse enemy. This one, when the villain initiates attack against you, you cancel attack. You pay for it using only physical, stun the villain, right? So it's nice to use these cards like that and to hit the kicker with his symbiotic bond. But he doesn't really have any other resource generator in hero form. Project Rebirth is, pretty good. You're going to heal through damage in Alter Ego or draw a card. It's very nice to have that option there. So this is a very good card for him. Spire Sense, it's 2 costs to, when the villain initiates attack against you, draw a card. Like to copy Peter Parker Spider-Man Spire Sense. I think that I'll prefer just having an on-demand resource generator like the Super Soldier Serum over this card here. Because when you use Super Soldier Serum, you're using it at least once per turn. And you get to use it the turn that it's played, right? for a Spider Sense, when you play it during the player phase, you're going to use it. You don't get to use it that phase. You have to wait till the villain phase to actually draw the extra card. And it can scale nice if the villain attacks you multiple times because it doesn't exhaust like Spider Sense. Peter Parker Spider Sense, I mean. But like, I think it just feels way nice to have this for free as a hero ability. And as a card you have to pay 2 costs for, I feel like it just drops like way down. It just doesn't feel as good anymore. Multi-Gun is Venom's best card here. You have the option to exhaust it to do one of the following: to use 2 damage to enemy, remove 2 from a scheme, or do 1 damage to each minion engaged with a certain player. Very nice there. The Venom's pistols here aren't as good because when you use a basic power, you can exhaust the pistol to get +1 to power. Like, it's nice. It's like fine for 1 cost, but you want to play all of them down, and sometimes you aren't using it if you want to like exhaust a heal or something like that with like Venom, right? So Venom's one of those heroes that I think he could definitely like. So when I say it's a hot take, I mean maybe it's not a hot take, right? He could definitely handle all the expert scenarios, right? Like the Styles Lock is super powerful. The problem is he's not above expert level, because a lot of the more difficult expert scenarios, he doesn't like dominate them, especially if they have like Stalwart Steady, which a lot of those tough scenarios do have. And he's definitely not in the heroic scenario 2 expert 2 level. So he goes into B tier here for me. And he's gonna go right around Scarlet Witch level. Definitely better than She-Hulk. Somewhere around here. I think Scarlet Witch is stronger than Venom. Yeah, so I think he'll go right there for me. All right. Next, we're over to the Mad Time Shadow box here. Okay, so we got Spectrum and Adam Warlock. Okay, so Spectrum, she has 3 forms here. She has a 1-on-1 stat line, but depending on which form you're in, she either gets +2 attack, +2 Thor, or +2 defense. Generally, the defense one is kind of the worst one, because her defense event you need to have in your hand to play it to like really maximize it, right? When you defend, you change the post-star form and then ready her. And then if you're already in post-star form, you get retaliate 1 until the end of the phase. So it's like you're really just getting retaliate 1. You're not even adding to your defense. So, and it's only if you're already in your defensive form, right? So she kind of only has 2 forms you want to be in, the Gam form and the Photon form. And Speed of Light is probably her best card because you can change an energy form and then draw a card to give her flexibility to move around forms. But without that, she can get stuck in a form that you don't want to be in. The only other way to change your form is to flip down to Alter Ego, right? You get all your energy forms upgrade back to being face down, flip back up to hero form to choose energy form upgrade to have that one be face up, right? So yeah, she's not terrible. She can definitely handle herself in expert scenarios. I'm gonna put her in the B tier. I think above Thor. And then should we put her in the B plus here? Would I rather be playing Black Panther? I think Black Panther is strong in Spectrum. She just had printed Ariel, but that's like less important now that we have I think we have 2 other printed Ariel characters. No, 3 other ones now. So she's no longer special, but she was the first printed the first hero with the printed Ariel trait on her identity. Yeah, I think B minus here for her. I think She-Hulk's better. Yeah, I'm gonna go B minus here for Spectrum. All right. Oh wait, I keep on doing that for the boxes. We have Adam Warlock here in the Mad Time Shadow as well. Okay, so Adam Warlock, I think Adam Warlock is all that. You have to use all 4 aspects in his kit. So he's similar to Spider-Woman in a way, right? Because he doesn't have synergy with basic cards, right? But I would say for him, it's a lot less anti-synergy than with Spider-Woman right here, right? That's their card, Captain Marvel. I meant Spider-Woman, guys. So unlike Spider-Woman, Adam Warlock, a lot of people think he's more restricted than her, but I find him actually a lot more freeing because with the Karmic Staff, you exhaust to generate a water resource for anything. Same cost as Finesse, by the way, for a way better resource generator that's not restricted at all. Then with the Mystic Senses, this is also really good for economy. After you resolve his Battle Mage ability, you can draw a card. So like, it is synergy with aspect cards because Battle Mage, you get this card from your hand, and if the card is the corresponding aspect card, you get the ability. However, you don't have to use this for an aspect card. So I've often used this card from your hand, I discard an Adam Warlock card or a basic card. You still trigger Mystic Senses and draw a card. So once you get both Mystic Senses on the table, and you Battle Mage, you're always drawing 2 cards with that. And most of the time, you are getting an aspect card discarded to get the extra effect there, like aggression card do 2 damage, justice card remove 2 threat, and so on. But even if you don't have that, if you're like stuck, you're not stuck like a Spider-Man where you have nothing to do, right? Even if you're stuck, you can still draw 2 cards with the Mystic Sense, which is very, very good. And yeah, I just love. I think Iron Warlock is actually the most versatile hero like in game. He can do all sorts of things. He can grab any card in discard pile with Quantum Magic back to his hand. I like playing him in the pull aspect to grab back like a triple. He can easily heal back to full health with the Soul World here as well. So yeah, he's very, very solid. He goes in A tier for me. I think he's underrated. He goes around here. I'm putting him behind Captain America, I think. Yeah, he does need a decent amount of setup, though. You do need to get the Karmic Staff and the Mystic Sense in play, but once the Mystic Sense are in play, he gets rolling after that. He really just needs this, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, next we got Nebula. Okay. So, speaking of negative hero abilities, I don't know if you would consider this a negative one. Maybe Hulk is probably the only true negative hero ability, but Nebula's is like a little bit negative. So basically, she has these technique upgrades here, right? She has a bunch of them right here. So like this one says, while she's in hero form, her attacks have piercing and overkill. Special is removed through different scheme. You can only trigger the special if something says to trigger the special. But sometimes these constant effects are very good, right? Being able to have piercing and overkill on your attack, it's decent. And it's very good if you want to do a lot of damage. But this one here, Nebula gets +1 Thor, +1 attack, and gain start. That one's super duper good. Like this is an amazing like constant effect to have. However, with her hero ability here, Combat Protocols, force response, you have to trigger it. After your turn begins, you have to resolve special of each technique upgrade you control, and then you must discard all your techniques. So you get a tough here with special, and then you lose the +1 Thor +1 attack, which feels bad. So like she's working around when you want to be an alter ego, so you don't have to trigger this force response and then get that constant ability, or get this ability still in play, And then with this here response, after you play technique upgrade, you can draw 2 cards, so that's very nice for economy. She also has the universal resource generator with her ship to generate a lot of resource, which is very nice too. So yeah, I mean, the way her kit works, it's a little bit clunky. She needs to have alter ego access for the same thing for a lot of other heroes, because you don't want to discard this and trigger this on a time that you don't want to, right? Like if there's 0 threat on the main scheme and no side schemes, you don't want to trigger this special, right? If there are no minions and you don't want to damage the villain right now, like the villain can't take damage for whatever reason, like sometimes the villain will have like a main scheme or ability where it says they cannot take damage. You don't want to trigger the special to do 4 damage to enemy. There's no enemies to damage, right? So it's like, why? I don't want to trigger these specials here, but I'm forced to with the force response. So the way to mitigate that is to be down in alter ego. And one really cool thing about her in multiplayer, she also jumps way up in multiplayer, is that in multiplayer, you can trigger these specials before this, because you can play it's out of turn. You can play her whoops, go back to her lethal intent here. It's a hero action. X cost, choose up to X technique upgrade you control, resolve a special in the order of your choice, and you don't have to discard those techniques. So if you play this card right here, so like if you're playing in True Soul, for example, right? Whenever the player phase begins, your turn begins, and you have to resolve specials, discard all techniques. If you're playing multiplayer and Nebula is not the first player, right? Even if she's in hero form, and you have techniques in play, you can play Lethal Instinct. It's a hero action out of turn. During another player's turn, during the first player's turn, you can play Lethal Instinct out of turn. Trigger the special of your technique upgrades. Like, for example, you can trigger the special here, do 4 damage to enemy. Trigger the special here, or remove threat from a scheme. You can do that. And her attacks of piercing and overkill too. You do all of that, they stay in play. Then whenever Nebula's turn actually begins, you have to discard them and trigger this force response. So she also goes a lot better in multiplayer because of the alter ego access, and because of being able to have more flexibility in when she wants to trigger her hero ability here. So this is a true solo list though. So in true solo, she's not that good. She's gonna go very restrictive here. I think she goes in the bottom of C tier even. Yeah, she's just a very restrictive kit. Yeah, but she jumps way up in multiplayer in my opinion. All right, next we got War Machine. Okay, I don't think my take here is going to be controversial. War Machine, similar to Nebula, needs to flip down. Because as a force response, after you change this form, discard each ammo counter from your identity. And then as a response, after you change to your hero form, you get 5 ammo counters. You need ammo counters for all of his events here. You get 5 ammo counters going up to hero form, but once they're gone, they're gone. You don't really get them back anymore unless you use the hero action here. But you use that once, you lose all ammo counters from your munitions bunker, and then you can't set up anymore unless you're an alter ego to get ammo counters on your munitions bunker. So War Machine wants to flip down a lot, essentially. He wants to either be down alter ego or flip up to hero form every other turn. So for that reason, like solely, I think that he is not going to be that good in true solo. I think it's better than a lot of these heroes here, though. War Machine goes up in front of Rocket behind Spider-Woman, in my experience playing him in true solo. In multiplayer, I think he goes to like, I think he goes quite high. B tier, possibly even A tier. The thing with War Machine in multiplayer is that being able to flip up and get 5 ammo counters feels really, really good if you're doing that constantly, right? Because a lot of his events here have a really good curve, right? 1 cost to do 4 damage to enemy. I mean, it's bottlenecked by your ammo counters. You have to also remove an ammo counter. But if you're constantly flipping, you always have ammo counters. 1 for 4 is very, very good. Targeted strike is 1 to remove 3 threat. Very, very good. Full auto, 2 costs to do 8 damage, remove 4 ammo counters though, and then do 8 damage to enemy attack against overkill. Well, 2 for 8 is insanely good. All I gotta do is make sure you got ammo counters though, right? So as long as you got the ammo counters, War Machine is popping off. Without ammo counters, he's not as good. And in multiplayer, I find myself having tons of ammo counters with him because I'm always flipping. And I can use this, and even without this, I still get the 5 every single time I'm up in hero form because I'm flipping every single turn. So yeah, multiplayer War Machine, very, very good. Non-multiplayer, not too good. Next, we got Valkyrie here. Ooh, okay, huge shout outs to D20, who is a big fan of Valkyrie. I'm not a big fan of her kit. I've tried her, not leaning into min slaying stuff, and she is not very good. You have to do min slaying stuff with her, and for her, I think that her min slaying stuff is a lot more restrictive than Thor at this point in the game with the current card pool, because you have to death glow people. You have to attach it to enemy. It's 1 cost to do, and all of her effects basically revolve around that, right? You get +1 attack, +2 when attacking the enemy with death glow attached. And then if Valkyrie can defeat the enemy that has death glow attached, you can ready her. So you're constantly attaching it to minions, and you want effects off of that. Flight of the Valkyrie here. After the enemy with the death glow is defeated, discard, and you can remove 5 from her skin. That's the only way to really remove threat. It's 2 for 5, which is good, but you have to spend additional resources to death glow an enemy and defeat the enemy. So like this, like it's actually like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 effective resources, right? Because this is 3 effective resources to play a card, but you also always have to play death glow, even if you don't need it to be in play, right? It's usually gonna be beneficial to help you get the ready and other stuff, but like you need to death glow in order to get the flight the Valkyrie off, right? So yeah, it's tough there. This is a very good card to get any minion you want. And Habadi is like, you know, decent, like 3 for 7 with overkill, only with death glow attached. It's just nice because you get the ready of Valkyrie if you defeat that enemy, right? So you get the overkill a minion, defeat it, get a ready with Valkyrie, attack the villain, and then play another Habadi at another minion or something, right? So the thing with her is that she's not really restricted to anything like these guys over here, like a playstyle. She is restricted to minions, but that's not like the biggest thing in the world. But for some reason, her kit, I just don't find it like in actual practicality. Like I think on paper it doesn't look as bad as like maybe like Thor's, but in my experience playing her, she's like very restrictive. Like she really needs to play an aggression, or another aspect, really do the min slaying thing. So yeah, for that reason, I think she also goes in D tier. Not as strong as Hulk either. I'm gonna put her here in the D tier. Yeah, we got some D tiers right here. Yeah, all right. Next we got Vision. Vision is a pretty solid hero. He gets +2 recovery if you're in dense mass form. If you're intangible, he gets +1 hand size. In your alter ego. So he has a printed hand size of 5 in alter ego. It goes up to 6. Hero form has a 5 hand size anyways. He has his mass form upgrade to intangible in the dense side form. Dense gives him +2 attack, +2 defense. Intangible, you cannot attack or defend. That's including playing attack events or defense events. Reduce the amount of damage Vision takes from each attack by 2 though, so you can just take damage to the face. So yeah, he's a pretty solid hero. He can do a lot of things. You can get stuck in like a form with him, right? Like if you want to solar beam to, let's say, remove 5 threats, but then after you do that, you want to, like, I don't know, attack after that. It's gonna be difficult to do, right? You need to sequence things in a like clean way to get vision off. So it takes a little bit of like planning, right? Like for example, for your let's see, mass increase here. This is your defense event. When vision defense, prevent all damage from attacks, stun the attacking enemy after attack resolves. If you draw into this card, I mean, it's really good. You always want to play it, right? So if you draw into this during the villain phase, you play as a defense event whenever the villain attacks and vision is defending. But you can only play it in Death Mask form, and you can't even defend anyways in your intangible form. So if you draw this card but you're in your intangible, then it's like, I shouldn't have drawn it. If you draw this card during play phase and you hold it in your hand, that's a card you could have spent as a resource that you're now holding onto your hand because you want to stay in your Death Mask form in order to play this. For like this card here, Phase Disruption, play only if you're in your intangible form. Well, what if you like do something else first, like you play your attack or something like that, and then you want to, and then you like somehow draw cards after like defeating a minion or something like that, right? And then you draw into the Phase Disruption, but you already changed up to your hero form to get the damage here from Solar Beam. So then now it's clunky, you can't play this anymore, and that's happened to me oftentimes, right? You want to make sure that you see all the cards in your hand first, decide the order you want to do things, and if you draw new cards, that might be clunky if it doesn't like mesh with how you flipped and how you played your cards. That being said, though, I think Vision is very powerful. He can do all things. Vivian is a very good ally. She gets +2 Thor or +2 attack depending on which form you're in. So yeah, Vision pretty solid. He's gonna go, I think, in a B+ here. I think he goes. I'm put him above Venom. Yeah, we're gonna put him above Venom here. Is he above Venom? Or is he more like below T'Challa? I think he's above She-Hulk. I think he's around this Venom She-Hulk level. I'm putting him above Venom here. All right. Next we got Ghost Spider. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop saying that we don't have any more controversial takes because we are gonna have a bunch of controversial takes. Ghost Spider is controversial here. So I know people love her. Similar to these D2 heroes here, I think that she's very forced to play in a specific playstyle. And it's that readying playstyle and playing interrupts or responses, right? Her hero ability here, Disney Reflexes, after you resolve an interrupt or response on an event. Only events, not for upgrades or supports. Ready Ghost Spider limit once per phase. So her kit revolves around playing these hero responses or hero interrupts. So you have to use a basic power and then to play this card, right, as a response. After you use a basic power, you can play Ghost Kick, do 6 damage to enemy. Phantom Flip, after you use a basic power, remove Father from a scheme, and then you can, play this card to do that. The thing with her is that if you're exhausted, like perm-exhausted, like there's some encounters that will like give you attachment where you cannot ready. They'll give you attachment where you just get exhausted. She's kind of neutered for that turn, right? She can't really do anything unless she's basically activating and then playing these responses on top of that. So it's like 2 steps. So because of that, and because she's easily countered, I think that she cannot handle a lot of those difficult scenarios. And even if she is not countered, like if you're playing a scenario that does not exhaust you, like let's say like Ronan does not really have any way to exhaust you, she wants to defend a lot, right? If she's defending against Ronan and he's hitting for like 13, even if you defend for 3, he might just kill you in one shot, right? Those super difficult expert scenarios will still give Ghost Spider a lot of trouble. And her thwarting is not great. It's really only the Phantom Flip here, which is very good threat move, right? 2 for 5 is huge and really good, but you have to use her basic activation to use that. So yeah, and her economy is not the best. She's got the web bracelet here, but you have to once again trigger those interrupts and response on events. So you can't do that. You get no economy from this card. So yeah, I wish it was like 1 cost, because like I think 1 cost is very good for the card, but it works well with how the rest of her kit works. So Ghost Spider, I think she's better than like these heroes in the D tier, but she's gonna go near the bottom C tier here for me. Actually, I'll put her a little bit higher up in the C tier. I think she goes right here in front of Rocket Raccoon. Yeah. All right. Oh, I keep doing that. Okay, next we got the other hero in the box. We got Spider-Man Miles Morales. Miles is very good. I think that he is A tier. I think he's a solid hero. He's really like dependent on statuses. So I think he completely demolishes like these like standard scenarios and like lower expert scenarios as well, like Rhino, Ultron, Claw. He just stuns lock, confuse lock them. Very, very good. Playing his own hero cards. He can trigger the special here on his identity card. Do 2 damage to enemy, stun enemy, or give Spider-Man a tough and a confused enemy. Just very, very good in general. He can't handle these top tier heroic standard 2 expert 2 type stuff because of steady and stalwart. In the standard 2 environment form of foe, giving that steady to all the enemies and villains and everything, right? So like that's tough for him, but he can definitely handle his own, just playing his own cards. So he goes, I think he goes, it's tough because I think Warlock can handle those hard difficulties better than Miles. I think I'm gonna put Miles here behind Warlock in front of Iron Man. All right, next we got Nova. Yeah, he's controversial here too, I think. Okay, so Nova, he has really powerful combos. I think like you have like a lot of like infinite loop combos with Nova, but I think that in true solo, whenever he's doing everything himself, his impact is not the best, and you need to set up things perfectly. You need like low minions, like low hit point minions, or low threat schemes for him to unleash Nova Force, right? This is like the main card that keeps those infinite loop type stuff going. So here, actually, until the end of round, each time Nova defeats an enemy or removes a blaster from a scheme, you can write up Nova and draw a card. So this can be endless if you're constantly defeating minions, defeating side schemes, writing Nova and drawing cards. Your economy keeps on going, and you keep on defeating them. If you can constantly summon up minions or add threat to like a scheme, this can be infinite, and of course, it can be very, very powerful. So even though he can have like certain sequences and certain situations, especially in multiplayer where there's more opportunities for that, where he's like S tier, I think on average, most of the time, he's in the B tier whenever I play him. And I think he's going to go at the top of the B minus tier right here, just because like the impact on his cards are not the best, right? So this is 2 costs to do 3 threat removal, 2 costs to do 4 damage. You can double the number of wild resource generated when paying for his card, so this can potentially be 1 for 3, which is good, or 1 for 4, which is also good. But when you run out of the events here, you want to just constantly be playing them with the Unleash Nova Force and then get the wild resource kicker, thanks to his Supernova helmet right here, right? This is like his main card. Exhaust to generate energy, a wild resource, I mean. And Nova can ready it, right? Whenever you use one of Nova's basic powers, you can ready up that helmet. So that's very, very good. You want to keep that going for the Unleash Nova Force. Ms. Marvel helps you keep loops as well. After you play an event, you can exhaust her and deal damage to her, then return that event to your hand. So if you play an event that can ready her, if you can just keep her like queued up, with like potentially like the Unleash Nova Force drawing you more cards so you can play more things, then she can go on forever as well. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff there that you can abuse with Nova, but I think on general, unless you're building like very specific decks for him, I think he's not going to be as powerful, but definitely can handle himself for sure. Definitely a strong hero. Next we got IronHeart here. A lot of people say IronHeart is the strongest hero in their opinion. I think that she's definitely very powerful. She's going to go in the A tier for me, similar to Iron Man, except I think that she's easier to build out, and her build out board is arguably stronger. I don't know if it's like straight out stronger, but it's pretty powerful, right? So same thing with her, but unlike with Iron Man, she needs to just get progress counters and advance to the next stage, right? So this is her version 1, version 2, version 3. You just go up in cards whenever you get enough progress counters. So here, remove 6 progress counters from her, ready her, and swap with version 2. Same version 2 going to version 3. So you get progress counters by using this. Spend a mental resource, place a progress counter on your identity. But she only has a 5-card hand size in her first version here. Or sorry, a 4-card hand size in her first version here. And a 5 hand size in here. And then 6-card hand size here. So Iron Man does have 7. Well, I'm not really comparing their build out state for if Ironheart is strong. I think Ironheart is for sure stronger than Iron Man. We're just seeing if her build out state is stronger here. So you can get more progress counters by playing her events here, right? 2 cost event, deal 4 damage to enemy. If it defeats an enemy, you get 2 progress counters instead of just the 1. And then she has Stroke of Genius to also get a progress counter after you spend this card, and you can draw a card. But when she's built out, you have the Photon Blasters and the Propulsion Jets. They each give you plus 2 hit points. Hero action, exhaust this. Remove threat from a scheme equal to your version number. Version 3, that's 3 threat on demand. This can do damage equal to your version number, so 3 damage on demand. So very similar to Iron Man having like you know, his arc reactor, his gauntlets, and then his Mark 5 helmet. It's like that on-demand type of damage, on-demand threat removal, on top of having the stat line of 323, which is pretty bonkers. In addition to that, she's also got her hero ability here, maximum efficiency. Hero action, remove a counter to do 2 damage to enemy. No retaliate because it's not attack damage, so you can do like, if you get 50 counters, you can do this 50 times in one turn and do 100 damage. So that just goes insane. So yeah, she's pretty good. She's pretty powerful. I'm gonna put her, like her build out, she's kind of lower tempo, but like she can get built out pretty quickly. And when she's built out, she's very strong. I think we put her, I don't know, still like around here actually. I think in multiplayer she jumps up, maybe it's even S tier, but in true solo, I don't know. It's gonna be, I think I'm gonna just put her in front of Iron Man, because Miles is really high tempo. Yeah, we're gonna keep Miles here. Yeah, because Miles is so fast. All right, next we got Spider-Ham. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put him straight up here in the S tier. A lot of people say he's the strongest here in the game. I don't think he's the strongest, but I think he's one of the strongest. And it's going to be economy and survivability. Those are the two most important things in my opinion. But on top of that, he's got really good threat removal too, right? He's got 2 Thor, and then you can ready him with the organic webbing, which also gives him +1 more Thor. So he can Thor twice for 3 in a turn, which is just bonkers. But yeah, survivability, cartoon physics, when your identity would take any amount of damage, prevent all of it but 1. On demand, because it's a 1-cost upgrade. That's just super duper good. Hero ability here, whenever you take any amount of damage, place a tune counter, including damage from yourself, from your cartoon physics. So each counter here can be spent as if it were a WoW resource. Guys, that's just insane. That's very, very good. Infinite economy with those WoW resources. And very good thwarting and very good survivability. Like his survivability feels infinite as well. His 12 hit points with the cartoon physics is not even maximum per player. I don't know why. You can play them both down here. Just have it on demand whenever you would die. 5 recovery on top of that. Crazy, crazy good kid. I mean, that's enough said. He is definitely one of the most powerful heroes in Marvel Champions. And for some reason, stronger than his Spider-Man counterpart. Spider-Ham is the stronger Web Warrior. All right, next we got SPDR, another Web Warrior here. SPDR is easily jumping up to be one of my favorite heroes in the game. She is super duper fun to play, but in terms of her power, similar to Iron Man and IronHeart, she needs to get built out. And when she's built out, she's insane. I think that she builds out more difficult than Iron Man though. And I don't know if her build out board is as good as Iron Man's. So she's gonna go for sure beneath him. The question is, what are we gonna do with Ant-Man here? I think we're going to put SPDR behind Ant-Man. Even though I like her a lot more. I also like Ant-Man a lot too. But yeah, so the way SPDR works is that she has a hand size of 4 in hero form and 3 in alter ego. Or sorry, 4 in alter ego, 3 in hero form. That's right, guys. 3 hand sizes in hero form is one of the worst. But sync ratio, resource exhaust, and interface upgrade control to generate the upgrades resources, right? So she already has this interface upgrade right here, always. Because whenever you flip to other form, this alter ego side becomes this interface upgrade, and then whenever you're in alter ego, the suit becomes the SPDR suit right here. So you have 1 resource generator on the table, and then when you get built out with all these guys here, they're all interface upgrades that you can exhaust. So she can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like 5 resource generators on the table with sync ratio, which is very, very good. All systems go, right? So they all have an effect too, right? Like the host bar, you can exhaust to generate the water resource or exhaust to ready up SPDR. This one you can exhaust to get +2 attack for your attack or exhaust to generate that resource. So you can use either effect. All systems go. When you play this event, you can choose and pick the effect to ready each interface upgrade control. Guys, that's bonkers, because then you can use this effect, and you can just use this to exhaust to play the all systems go and ready everything right back up again. Ready SPDR back up again. Use your extra Thor, extra attack, and do all that stuff over and over again. So she goes crazy with that. You have to get into the draw with these events here though. But yeah, very, very strong hero, especially when she's built out. But I think that the building out process is more difficult with her than with these other heroes here. All right. Next, we're moving on to immune gens. Okay, finally over to the immunes here. Are we like even halfway done, guys? I think we're more than halfway, right? Man, I want to do this under an hour, but I think we're gonna go way over. I think we're already over, right? All right, we got Colossus here. Colossus is a lot of fun. I think that he is an A tier hero. He's definitely above extra level. I have playthroughs on my channel, guys, like defeating Ronin quite handily with Colossus. He can do it in like any aspect. He's kind of underrated because he has a hands of 4 in hero form, 6 in alter ego. But the thing with Colossus is that you want to flip down, and he has probably the most easy way to flip down with armor up. After you can interrupt, when a villain activates, you change your form, and then the villain will attack you instead of scheming. So this card right here is a zero cost event that allows you to flip from alter ego to hero form. And when you're in hero form as a response, you get a tough. So not only do you prevent the scheme and all the threat accessing 6-card hand size, you go to hero form, the tough blocks the attack immediately, and Colossus can have 1 additional tough. Everything else in this kit just synergizes with the tough. But yeah, that's the main thing going with Colossus there. So being able to access the economy with 6-card hand size, and flip down for alter ego stuff, right? Recover whatever you need. Flip back up, have 14 hit points. Colossus, crazy good. That might be a hot take though, but I think Colossus, I will live and die by how strong Colossus is. Next we have ShadowCat, and I remember to scroll down here instead of clicking the back button. Okay, this will be a more hot take here. So for her, she's got her Quick Shift is probably her best card here. When an enemy attacks, if you're in solid mass form, you change the phase mass form. In phase mass form, you draw 2 cards. That's very good. You want to be in your phase mass form here with ShadowCat most of the time, because when you're defending, you cannot take damage. So basically, whenever you end your player phase, you want to end in phase mass form. However, as a force response after you attack or defend, you must flip over. In solid mass form, after you attack or defend, you can flip this card over to here. So you have the option here. So she's a lot of sequencing of like when you want to flip, because you want to, whenever you're defending, you want to take no damage. So you want to be in your phase form. Also, quick shift will trigger, and you can draw 2 cards. However, the way that she works is that I found that even though it looks like she can kind of do what she wants, if you're not defending with her and capitalizing off of phase form, she's not good. She needs to be using her defense and her phase mass form to really capitalize on her abilities. So you want to generally build like a defensive type build with her. But problem is, if the villain attacks multiple times per turn, you may not be able to prevent all the damage. And if you aren't blocking out damage, she only has 9 hit points, pretty squishy, hard for her to recover back up. And when she gets to like 2 life, 1 life, it's hard for her to bounce back. So because of that, I think that she's not the most reliable hero. She can handle herself against extra difficulty though. So she goes here in the B tier. And we're gonna put her decently high up. I mean, ooh, I think this is where we draw a line though. Yeah, I think she's gonna go above Gamora but behind Thor. And that might be the craziest take ever. But I think that if you pick any one scenario on expert mode, Thor, and you can build any deck with Thor or with ShadowCat, I think that on average, Thor will have a better shot taking down that scenario than ShadowCat. This includes Venom Goblin, Magneto, Ronin, all that stuff. Or even like a scenario like Rhino, for example. I think that if you can build any deck for Thor or ShadowCat, Thor has a higher chance there, yeah. Yeah, Thor can just Thor can handle a lot, guys. I think Thor is slept on. Yeah, all right. Next, let's jump over to Cyclops. Okay. Cyclops, one of my favorite heroes in the game. I think he is super duper powerful. You can, as a deck ability, include X-Men allies from any aspect in your deck. That is arguably just as good as including any aspect card in your deck, actually, because X-Men allies are some of the strongest allies, and to have them from any aspect is pretty good. Like, allies are, the strongest cards in any aspect, and then X-Men allies are some of the strongest allies. So you basically get, like, dibs at the strongest cards, essentially, right? Like, you have Blindfold, you got Sunfire, you got Psylocke, you got Beast. Yeah, just a super, like, really good gallery of, like, X-Men allies in the game right now. And because of that, it buffs up everything for him. Like, and you can use that in any deck, right? In leadership, you can build him that way. Protection, you can build him that way. It doesn't matter what aspect you're playing him in. And then now his damage is bonkers with coordinated effort, a new card that came out in Wonder Man's Hero Pack. It's a tactic upgrade that you can attach on any encounter card, including the villain card, which is an encounter card. Optic Blast, spend a resource of any type, deal 3 damage to an enemy with upgrade attached. So permanently, if you attach on the villain, you can spend a resource to do 3 damage to the villain every single turn. Crazy good. It's not temporary like these other tactic upgrades here. Alter Ego, you get +1 to your economy because your action, constant training, you can search your deck for a tactic upgrade and add to your hand limit once per round. So you can always just add any one of your tactic upgrades to your hand, have 7 cards in your hand instead of just 6. Everything that he's got here is just insane. He's got the full blast, ricochet beam, very tactical. You want to play that way when you're playing Cyclops, but now you can just play unleashing him with the coordinate effort too. So yeah, Cyclops is stronger than Spider-Man in my opinion, and I think he's not as strong as Spider-Ham though. But yeah, he is very, very good, super duper versatile. He can really do anything he wants. He's got the economy going on. He's got the X-Men synergy. The strongest X-Men ally builds are gonna be with Cyclops, and ally builds are some of the strongest, and X-Men allies are some of the strongest as well. So yeah, no brainer for why Cyclops is that good. Next we got Phoenix here. Okay, so Phoenix, she's a pretty unique hero. She has a 3 thwart, 1 attack. But if you're in your Unleash form, she gets -2 thwart, going down to 1 thwart and +2 attack, going up to 3 attack. So whenever she unleashes there, she can do more damage. But the thing with her is that most of her events are really good in Unleash form and not good if you're restrained. So 3 for 7 is not good, but your Unleash, it's 3 for 9 with Overkill, which is very good. On this card here, 2 for 4, it's okay, but if you Unleash, it's 2 for 4, and you stun and confuse enemy. So it's cool that when she's Unleashed, she does so much more, but I wish that when I'm building out with her, I want the extra thwarting, right? So you want to be restrained at times, and then yeah, that can be a little bit more difficult to manage between being restrained and being unleashed. Because sometimes you want to be restrained, sometimes you want to be unleashed, and you want to be unleashed for basically all of your events. But then if you're unleashed, bad things can happen with your nemesis Dark Phoenix, so you gotta be careful about that. So overall, I mean, I think she's strong. I think that she's in the B tier for sure. B plus or B? I think B plus here. So we're gonna put Phoenix. She's pretty good. I think she's better than Venom. I'm gonna put her in front of Vision. Yeah. And one thing is, okay, her nemesis. Let's talk about nemesis here. A lot of people think that Dark Phoenix drops Phoenix down a tier because the nemesis is just so bad, right? When reviewed, well, I mean, first she's 12 hit points, villainous, so she gets a boost, steady, and toughness. When she schemes, you put on her nemesis side scheme here. When reviewed, you search and counter deck for the nemesis side scheme, and then you reveal the side scheme. And then if there's 12 here, the players lose the game. It provides a second loss condition for the players. Dark Phoenix is tough. And I think that she can be game ending on turn 1 or something like that. But I think even I don't know, on turn 2, it's not the end of the world. Dark Phoenix is not. I think that Phoenix can handle her. And I think especially if you're built out, she's a lot easier to manage too. So she's tough. Definitely still one of the worst nemesis. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it drops Phoenix down a tier or anything like that. So yeah, that's my take on that. All right, next we got Wolverine. Wolverine, very strong hero. You can take damage equal to his the cost of an attack event. Take 3 damage here for a Legend Strike to play it for free by exhausting his Wolverine's claws right here. That's kind of his main thing. Healing factor, very thematic, huge 2 damage every single player phase. He has a pretty simple kit, right? Just doing damage, healing back up. 6 recovery is very, very good. He's got that basic 2 Thor, 2 attack, 2 defense, which is a solid style for any hero. So definitely solid here. I think that he doesn't have anything to really push him over the top, and his economy is not the best thing. His main thing is claws, which is good economy for playing attacks, but only for attacks. So he's a very good rush hero. But I think that if you're building out, which is more consistent than rush in Marvel Champions, he's not as good as he is in his rush form. Berserker Frenzy is another way to get economy. After you take an amount of damage from an attack, you draw a card, but you gotta take more damage to trigger it, and for response, when you change Alter Ego, you have to discard the card, right? So you get your your obligation, or you have to flip for whatever reason, you have to get rid of it. So yeah, Wolverine, he's solid for sure. He goes in a B tier here for me as well. I think he goes, let's put him above Phoenix. Yeah, above Phoenix here. Definitely a strong hero, but not A tier in my opinion. All right, next we got Storm here. Okay, so Storm, another solid hero, another hero that I think goes up in multiplayer. You can even make the case for her being S tier because she impacts the board so much with her weather deck. These are constant effects while they're in play, right? So each character gets -1 attack. So all the minions and the villain attacking other players will have -1 attack with the Blizzard in play. Thunderstorm, each character gets +1 attack, so all of your allies, your identity, all your friends' identities, and all of their allies gets +1 attack. So like if you're playing 4 players and everyone has like 3 allies, this is like +1, 2, 3, 3 allies for each player times 4, 12 plus the 4 identity, 16. This is +16 attack, essentially for free during any given player phase, right? So her impact on the board is very, very good in multiplayer. In true solo, it gets diminished, but she's still a solid hero for sure. She can do all things. She has 1 thwart, 2 attack, 1 defense, but you get +1 thwart with her crown here. You can get a ready here with her cape as well, giving her +1 defense. Whenever you trigger the special on her weather support, you can exhaust the cape to ready up storm. So yeah, she can give herself stalwart to get rid of any status on her. So definitely also a strong hero. I think she goes also here in the B tier. I'm gonna put her. I think we put her in front of, or she even A tier. I think she's pretty good, right? I I think in previous lists, I think I put her in the B tier, but the more I played her, the more I've been more fond of Storm. I think she, I mean, on paper, she looks amazing right now, right? Practically, I feel like she's pretty good too. Yeah, let's bump her up. We're gonna put her in the A tier. And I think I'm gonna put her. Wait a minute, am I putting her this high? This might be wrong, but we're gonna put her here in the A tier. I think she's super good. And I think that she's S tier in multiplayer. For sure, S tier in multiplayer. A tier in true solo. I don't know. I don't know if that's right, guys. That's what I think right now. Yeah, that is that a hot take? I think most people have her in A tier. Yeah, so we're putting Storm up super high here. All right, next we got Gambit. Gambit is not A tier. So my problem with Gambit is that he's got 1 thwart. His thwart event can only be used in alter ego. It's a 2-cost event to only remove 3 threat from a scheme. If it takes out the last threat, though, you can confuse the villain. So that's nice, but you can only use it in alter ego. And the villain is stalwart or steady. This gets even worse. So with that, he basically can't thwart in hero form. His thwarting is not good in hero form, is what I meant to say. His alter ego action allows him to do some more thwarting. But I feel like he has such cool thwarting stuff in alter ego. And with the alter ego ability and the skill synergizing off of that. And he can, play Correlate Charm, which is a very cool card. He's got a really cool defense event with Natural Agility, which is very strong too. And he's got really cool attack synergy with his throw the card here and his charge the card. Gambit staff is also very good for playing protection defense builds. When an enemy attacks, you can exhaust and deal damage. So he's got such cool hooks in every single aspect. However, I feel like the 3 hooks that he has don't synergize together. Like, I feel like it doesn't mesh well. So, like, if you're playing a protection build with him and you stay up in hero form all the time, then you're not utilizing his alter ego ability, the Thief's Guild, or Correlate Charmer at all, right? Like, you're just staying up in hero form. So you can't maximize off that, even though you're synergizing with his natural agility and his Gambit staff. If you're playing a rush build with Gambit, well, you don't want to flip down when you're rushing, and you don't want to defend, right? You just want to attack. So you're not using any of the, you're not using the staff, or maybe you're using the staff because it does the damage, but you're not using the natural agility. If you don't want to exhaust defend for attack, it might still be useful though, but you're definitely not using this to like flip down and stuff, right? If you're just rushing the villain down, and if you're playing like an alter ego build, with Gambit Injustice, and you want to stay down alter ego a lot, you're maybe not using this as much, and you're maybe not using this as much either, right? So I feel like whatever build that you choose with Gambit, you lose some synergy with the other stuff, making this kit feel like split in half and a little bit clunky. So for that reason, I think that he's not the strongest. He goes in a, ooh, does he go B tier for me or C tier? I think I was speaking him up to go C. We're gonna put him in. I think he's dropped for me at least recently. So I think I put him in a C tier now. Yeah, he's definitely a tough hero to play. So I'm putting a C tier behind War Machine there. All right, next we got Rogue. Oh man, okay. All right. Just like with Villain Theory, I'm gonna deflect here. For Rogue, I'm gonna deflect this time to Stretch 22. So huge shots to Stretch 22, who did a hero tiers with me, power ranking all the X-Men heroes in the game. And he thinks Rogue is the worst X-Men. And I agree with him. Yeah, I've been saying this for a while, but he's also been saying this too. So yeah, her economy is not too good. She really doesn't have anything to boost her economy at all. she like basically her alter ego ability here is touched, and so is her hero ability. And Stretch made the case where like it's essentially blank, right? Because you're just using this touch card basically, which gives her these different effects here, but like they're not really adding too much other than the effect. They can add a lot depending on what event that you're playing and what you want to do, right? So her different effects give her different things. If touch is attached to a friendly character, Rogue gets +1 thwart. Is attached to enemy character, she gets +1 attack, right? The events here, if she has the corresponding traits, then she gets a corresponding effect. And this gives her that corresponding like ability there, right? Like overkill or retaliate 1 or star or aerial, right? So depending on what it's attached to, you get this going on. But in general, Rogue, especially in True Soul, doesn't really have much going on for her. She wants to attach to another player too, because she'll never get this stalwart ability if she's not attached to another player, and she won't get all the effects that can trigger if she can attach to another hero, like superpower adaptation. This card is really cool in multiplayer because if touch is attached to a friendly character, like another identity, or another identity's ally, you search its owner for an event that belongs, the owner's discard power, I mean, for an event that belongs to the same classification as the character, and then add it to your hand. So that can be really cool to have Rogue play like a magnetic missile from like Magneto's hero pack if she's teamed up with him, which I've definitely done. So that's tons of fun. But in True Solo, I think that her kit's a lot more limited. Her economy is not too good either. So she is worse than Gambit in my opinion. And she goes around here. Let's put her behind Black Widow. I think is a good spot. All right. Next, we're moving on to next evolution here. Okay, so we got Cable Nathan Summers. Okay, you guys know that Cable, in my opinion, is the strongest hero in Marvel Champions. Has that changed? I'm not sure, but right now, it's still going to be Cable from everyone that we've ranked in the tier list. So, Cable is a bit unique. He is super duper high tempo, clearing side schemes, and we are talking about True Solo. I think he's just as good in multiplayer too, because he can, but in True Solo, after he defeats a side scheme, you ready him limit once per phase, and he has 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 2 defense. A lot of side schemes have either 3 per player threat or 2 per player threat, so he can thwart them out pretty easily if you can get him, if you can assist him with like 1 extra threat removal. Once he gets the side schemes going, each time his side scheme is defeated, like the Grey Malkin, you can ready it. So this can generate unlimited energy resources per turn because you exhaust to generate an energy resource. This is very similar to QuickSilver's friction resistance, but unlike with QuickSilver, everything else in Cable's kit is insane, right? So if you guys thought like QuickSilver's friction resistance is like super duper good, imagine that with like a super bonkers kit to go in addition with that. And yeah, I mean, he has an on-demand plasma rifle which can do 4 damage if you get built out with a bunch of player side schemes. Every single turn on demand with range is pretty bonkers. You got your resource generator, which you can use like multiple times per turn if you're clearing multiple side schemes. Telekinetic blast can do like 15, 16 damage if you get enough player side schemes in that victory display. Same for the mind scan, doing like 10 threat removal. He has a scrying card too with precognition. I mean, I've said this millions of times, guys. You guys can watch any of my Cable playthroughs. Just demolishing a bunch of scenarios, heroic scenarios, standard 2, expert 2, all that stuff. He is killing everything here, and he's my go-to for these hard difficulties here. Definitely can handle everything else in the lower difficulties as well. I do also want to mention a caveat a lot of people say about Cable is that Hela, the encounter from Mankind Shadow, counters him. I think that I played several playthroughs against Hela with Cable on the channel, and Cable, in my opinion and in my experience, demolishes Hela. I think that I played her with Standard 2, Expert 2 as well, and Hela with Standard 2, Expert 2, in my opinion, is not as strong as even like Expert 1 Ronin, even if you're playing Cable. So like I get that like, if you're playing Spider-Man against Hela or Cable against Hela, Spider-Man kills Hela more easily than Cable kills Hela. But if you're facing like Ronin, Cable kills Ronin easier than Spider-Man kills Ronin. And Cable does not even struggle with Hela because he still struggles more with Ronin than with Hela, but he doesn't really struggle with Ronin that much anyways. So it's like, I get that Hela is tougher again with Cable than with other heroes, but he's still killing Hela quite easily, So like he's killing Hela more easily than like I don't know, like She-Hulk is killing her, So I feel like Cable, that's not really anything to detract from Cable. He's still insanely powerful. It doesn't really matter. Even if his Nemesis set comes out or with against Hela, because he has cards on demand to counter that. He's got Telekinetic Force Field, 2 cost automate upgrade. When any friendly character would take any amount of damage, discard to prevent all damage. You need to block it out. Temporal Leap, when the main scheme will be completed, you can remove the threat, remove this card from the game, put a side scheme from victory display into play, and then move 4 threat from the main scheme onto that side scheme, and to prevent that normally lost condition right there. So just crazy powerful effects here with Cable. Very good for these hard difficulties with the scrying, with the on-demand cancels in case something like bad happens, you know? So Cable is just bonkers. I forgot the thing again. We got to scroll down here for Domino, the other hero in next evolution. Okay, so Domino, she is a strong hero. I used to think she was pretty weak, but I've changed my mind. Huge shout out to Nar Antlers for all the custom gameplay requests with Domino, and she's moved up for me in fun a lot. In power, I think she's still not like A tier or anything like that. She's not like bonkers good, but I think she's serviceable. No, I don't think that she's on the level of the core set heroes. I think that she goes behind Spectrum here for me. She's a solid hero. She works with like RNG, like luck, but she can control her luck by manipulating the top card of her deck and stuff like that, so that when you're discarding cards, you know what you're discarding. Jackpot's a really good card because it's a triple resource, so you discard that with the top of your deck with this. It does 4 plus 3, 7 damage. All the Wasp cards for the top of her deck count as double, so she can get a lot more powerful effects with that. So generally pretty strong. Her economy is a little bit lacking. You want to use her manipulation to get the full economy offer, and you want to use digging deeps. But other than that, like it's tough to get like anything really going on with her if you don't have like a double resource to swap with this or her triple or something like that, you know? So the way she works is when she's smooth and you're getting the right cards, you can manipulate more and take advantage of that. But when you're in a dire situation and you have bad cards in your hand, then she's not going to be as good. And basically, when you're playing her, you always include 3 Digging Deeps and White Fox because these cards get extra effects when there's card from top of your deck. When more cards release that get effects when there's card from top of your deck, she'll probably go up for sure. But right now, she's solid, a solid B tier level hero. Yeah. All right, next, let's talk about Psylocke here. Ooh, okay. Psylocke is very good. She has 6 card hand size in alter ego, 4 in hero form. And then when you use one of your basic powers, you can flip one of your side energy upgrades. So she has the side knife and side katana. She has 2 of them. And this is like the flip side. So side knife, you flip it over, it's side katana, same thing. And there's just 2 copies of the cards. So this card here, when you're in side knife, they're both in side knife, she gets plus 2 Thor, going up to 3 Thor, which is really good. Same for this, going up to 3 attack. So that's pretty awesome. And you can also exhaust to generate an energy resource. This one you can exhaust generate physical resource. So on turns going from alter ego to hero form, she's bonkers with the 6 card hand size and the double resource generators. But going reverse is not as good because you don't have a 4 card hand size. So this just kind of mitigates that 4 card hand size, which is still good. The problem with her is that I find with her is that her obligation just kills me. So when you get this, it just in your play area, you cannot flip your side katana upgrades, and you flip all your stuff to the side katana form and exhaust it, so you lose your resource generators. You have to be an alter ego to discard a signing card from hand to get rid of the obligation. It never gets removed in game. And this card is like one of the worst obligations for like any hero. It like completely stumps her, which is why I'm mentioning here whenever I'm doing her power rankings here. And yeah, I just feel like with this card here, man. Okay. We can't drop her too much as that because in general her kit's still really good. She wants to flip down a lot and go from alter ego to hero form to get the extra economy with the resource generators, which is really good. And she has tons of ways to confuse in her kit. She's got 3 copies of Flurry of Blades here. So deal 2 damage to enemy for each side knife you control. Choose an enemy and confuse it. So you can confuse 2 enemies by playing 1 Flurry of Blades, which is pretty insane. You also have her Psionic Redirect. When you would take damage from enemy attack, prevent 2 of the damage for each side katana, prevent 2 additional damage for each side knife, confuse that enemy. So yeah, she can easily flip down to alter ego within her kit. But because of that, it's a confuse. She's not going to go near in the S tier because it's like more steady Star Wars stuff. So none of these heroes up here really deal with stasis or have kits that revolve around them because you can't rely on stasis against these hard difficulties up here. So Psylocke's not going to be S tier, but she's pretty good. Going into A tier here. I think we'll have her in front of SPDR. In front. Ooh, actually, let's put her up more. Let's put her here behind Miles. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for Psylocke. All right, next we got Angel. Okay, Angel is also a very powerful hero. He's got 3 forms as well. This is his thwarting form, this is his attacking form, but it has an acceleration icon. This is his like healing form, I guess. And then he plays a lot of arrow events in his kit. They all have like different effects. He has a confuse and stun here, but you can actually play him without using that. Um, and then basically the way that he works is that with your Angel of Death, response after playing an area event, you do damage to enemy equal to the cost of the event, which is pretty good. So you play this Razor Dive, aerial attack event, do 6 damage plus 3, so it's like 9 with overkill and piercing. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. And then with Angel here, response after you play a aerial event, you can draw 1 card, limit to once per phase. So this one's also limited to once per phase. So like you get some calm here playing your air events in this form here, where you can Thor for 2. He's got the on-demand ready with his Techno-Organic Wings, probably his best card here. And depending on which form you're in, you could get to ready up in Angel form or Archangel form. You can reduce the cost of the next aerial card you play by 2. So he's got a lot of cool things going on. He goes at really high tempo. He's very strong whenever you're going fast. When you go slower, he's not going to be as good. I think he still goes A tier. I'm going to put him actually behind Colossus, though. I'm not sure that's a hot take. I think Colossus, in general, builds out a lot better than Angel. And I do believe that build out is a stronger strategy to play more champions and more consistent than just rushing. But Angel is definitely one of the like top rush heroes, like along with like Wolverine, and Star-Lord, and Deadpool, who we'll get to very soon. But the Angel is very good. But he kind of like forced you to play at a higher tempo almost. And sometimes I want to take this a little bit slow to just control the threat and make sure everything's cleared off. And Angel just goes at such a high pace, but he's still very, very good. Next, we got X-23 here. Okay, X-23 is very powerful. I think that she's like probably your premier ready hero, right? Living weapon response after she takes any amount of damage. You can ready her limited once per phase. So you can ready up during the villain phase and the player phase. So you defend for 2, take 1 damage. You can still ready back up during the villain phase and your player phase. This ability is refreshed. You can use it to ready up again. Honey Badger is like one of the best strategies to play with X-23 because after she takes any amount of damage, you can ready up X-23. I often say this, I don't like playing a Voltron build with X-23 because you can never get rid of your obligation. It never gets removed in the game. It just gets this card if you trade the effect. And when this comes into play, you lose Honey Badger wherever she is. So if you give her like 5 upgrades, all upgrades get this card. Honey Badger is gone. You have to exhaust to get this card discarded. And it can just come right back out, So I'm not a big fan of Voltron here, but I do like to recur Honey Badger. I think that's really powerful because then she's constantly taking consequential damage. And you can ready up X-23 with that. One thing to know with that is that if Honey Badger does not survive the damage that she takes, she cannot ready up X-23. All of her kits, she actually has no attack events or Thor events. Her stuff is all about readying and buffing her stats, right? So until the end of the round, she gets +2 attack. With this card, with this card here, when she makes a basic Thor, she gets +X for a Thor equal to her attack. So she has no extra events. She has to use her basic activation to really do everything. And the problem with that is that if you're facing an enemy that deters that, if you play an enemy where like they want you to play more events, or if they're constantly exhausting you, making your basic activations not as good, then she gets kind of stumped there, right? Similar to Ghost Spider, but not as locked as Ghost Spider, because she can still include, Thor events attack events in her kit. Ghost Spider needs to basic activation in order to unlock any of her events on top of that. While X-23, even if she's exhausted, she can hopefully ready with her effects because she has so many different ways to ready by taking damage, and Honey Badger can ready her too. That hopefully she can like get back up to neutral. But I think that that's her main downfall there. She is B tier in my opinion. I'm gonna put her here. We put her in front of Scarlet Witch right here, near the top of B tier is where I put X-23. Yeah. Yeah. All right, next we got Deadpool. Okay. Deadpool is probably the best rush hero. Like with Star-Lord, like they're both neck and neck in terms of their rush ability. Deadpool can definitely build out too, just like Star-Lord. I think they're both not as good when they're building out, and they're both better in true slow when they're just rushing a villain down. They can both be top of the S tier whenever they're rushing and everything's clicking and you're getting the right cards. They could definitely both make the case for being the best heroes in the game. But if Deadpool's big thing here is that when you would take damage and get defeated, instead, say your hit point down to 1, change the Arc Eagle, and then place Incineration Token on the main scheme, and that's going to be permanent. So basically for Deadpool here is that he cannot ever get defeated in hero form. But in Alter Ego, if you die, then you die. And there's a lot of ways for villain to do pain damage in Alter Ego to Deadpool, which is his main like downfall there. Like if Ultron gets like concussive blast, or Magneto does metal shards or something like that, or if Juggernaut attacks you in Alter Ego, Ronan can attack you in Alter Ego as well. If that happens, then Deadpool will just die in Alter Ego, and the Rogue Vessel too from Ronan too. But yeah, so like if any of those cards like hit Deadpool, then he'll die. So sometimes you want to be conservative and not trigger the ability here to stay up in hero form. But if you think you can kill the villain, he can definitely like rush down Ronan in like 3 turns pretty consistently. And if you don't get in those encounter cards that will kill him in Alter Ego in those 3 turns, then he is doing very, very good. So yeah, building out not as powerful. Probably like B minus tier if you're building out with Deadpool. But if you are rushing, probably S tier. So we're gonna round him out here with Star-Lord. I think we're gonna put him at the bottom A tier. So no matter who else I put in A tier, Deadpool will be at the bottom. And him and Star-Lord would just kind of be like just averaged out for the rushing ability. But I think Deadpool in general can rush in basically every single aspect. I think Star-Lord kind of needs either aggression or leadership to really be good at rushing. But arguably Star-Lord's leadership build I think is better than Deadpool and no, I mean Deadpool still contends, right? Deadpool is just a really good rush hero. So yeah, he's gonna go here above Star-Lord. All right, next we have Age of Apocalypse here, and we got Bishop. Okay, Bishop is another hero that I think is one of the strongest heroes in the game. He's super tanky. He has really good economy, and you guys know, like, tankiness and economy are like the 2 things that I look at the most here. So you look at any of the heroes here, they are all super tanky or got economy. Cyclops has economy. He's maybe not tanky, but he's got allies to block for him, you know? So that's his thing. Cable, I mean, he's got really good economy with the Gray Malkin. And then he's tanky too with 12 hit points. So yeah, I mean, everyone here is tanky and has good economy. That's kind of like the thing that you need to be in that S class, in my opinion, and handle these super high difficulties in Marvel Champions. So Bishop here, 12 life, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 1 defense. That does not matter. You never need to defend with Bishop. You just take the attacks to the face with your 12 hit points, and you can heal it back up with your Bishop uniform here. So energy absorption after you take any amount of damage from an attack, you may do this. It's not a forced response you can choose. You can discard equal number of cards from the top of your deck, add each resource card to your hand, and then energy conversion. When an enemy attacks, you shuffle each resource card and discard power back into your deck. You cannot take more than 3 damage. And then with the uniform here, after you resolve your energy absorption, exhaust the uniform and heal 1 damage from Bishop for each resource card in your hand. So he can easily heal a whole way back up, like healing like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage in a turn if you get all those resource cards in your hand with your stored energies and then your doubles, and you add extra resources for a Bishop. So he could definitely pop off and go crazy, easily handling every single scenario. Doesn't matter, like Ronin, Venom Goblin does not matter. His story is good. He's got everything going on for him. So S tier for me. He's not as good as Spider-Man in my opinion. Not as cheating the game, but stronger than Cyclops. Yeah, all right. So we are down to the last line here. And next we got Magik, also in the Age of Apocalypse expansion. Magik is very good. She's not like my favorite to play because I find her pretty difficult to play, and I find sometimes clunky. I have to like do the sequencing very, very good. So you always play with the top card of your deck face up while Magik is in hero form. And depending on the resource icons on the top card, you get different kickers. So with like your crown, you get +1 Thor if it's a mental or wild. If it's a physical or wild, you get +1 attack, and different effects based on different things. Limbo is like her main card. You get as action exhaust Limbo to swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. So you get to swap that manipulation there. And you can play the top card of your deck as if you're in your hand, reducing its resource cost by 1. So she has good economy built into her hero form right here. Limbo is good too to give you more versatility and swap around. So definitely a very strong hero. She can definitely handle herself. She's got a great confuse here with exorcism, and she's got a great stun with the soul strike. But because of that, these cards are really good with their confuse and stun. But the hard difficulties, you don't want stun or confuse, right? None of these heroes work with stun or confuses. So she's definitely going to be A tier above the extra level. But where does she go? I think she's not as strong as Miles, even with that deck knowledge. I think she goes around here for me. Let's put her behind Psylocke. I think it's a good spot for a Magik. All right, next we're moving on to the rest of the way. We got Iceman here. Okay, so Iceman, he's got 1 thwart, 2 attack, 2 defense, a pretty cool stat line. He has 11 hit points and 4 coverage, so he is tanky. His storing is not great. and its economy is not great. You have the power belt, generate a water resource, but only for ice cards. All of his cards are ice, but aspect cards aren't ice. This is probably his best card. After you resolve your freeze ability, exhausted, draw a card. If it has ice trick, you ready up Iceman. So the main thing is just drawing the card is just going to be always good. But the ice trick getting ready is like icing on top of the case, on top of the cake. So that's very, very good too. A little bit inconsistent. There's no way to really maximize on it to make it like perfect to always get that ready. Yeah, in general, Iceman just feels like his kit's very expensive and his difficulty paying for the kit. So his economy is just not the best. His damage is a little bit lackluster as well. His best thing is the Arctic attack. 2 costs to either do 4 damage or do 6 damage. So, you know, not the craziest thing in the world. I think he's a little bit slow, needing some stuff to build out. He goes into B tier for me. Where in the B tier? I think, is he B minus or B plus? I think he's B minus. I think T'Challa is better. So put him here behind Spectrum. I think in front of Thor. Ooh, he's so close. He's super close to Thor, I think. Thor and Domino, actually. Um, actually, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Is Thor better than Domino? Is Thor better than Domino? Um, no, I don't think so, right? I think Domino's still ahead, yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna put Iceman, uh, I think we'll put him in front of Thor as well. Yeah, we'll put him right there in the B minus tier. All right, next we got Jubilee. Okay, Jubilee is all about statuses. So she's got a good economy too. You can exhaust or generate a wild. Exhausting may be not the best thing to do, but you get a resource if you need it. She can build her stats with the +1 thwart here and +1 attack here, going up to a 2/2/2, but she starts at a 1/1/2, which is pretty bad. Her challenge is pretty bad, generally only 9 hit points. For this, if you use 2 different resource types, you can stun enemy on top of 4 damage. Flash of Light, same thing, 2 different resource types, confuse enemy. And then Blinding Flash, you can choose X enemies and stun and confuse each one of them if you spend enough resources there for like the X being the number of resources that you spend when paying for the card. So against like Rhino or like Ultron or Claw, she's like killing them like A tier because she just like stats locks them like every single turn. But she's pretty squishy, and if they activate multiple times, you know, the stats lock won't work, won't be as strong anymore. So she actually goes in a B tier for me. I think she's gonna be B minus, and we'll put her. The thing is, stats lock just so good in this tier range. But I'm gonna put her behind Thor because Thor can handle some of those non-stats villains better than Jubilee. And he can handle all those weaker villains that can be Sazlock without Sazlocking them, right? But Jubilee just is very good against the Sazlockable villains. I think she goes. We'll put her around ShadowCat. Let's put her in front of ShadowCat right there. All right, next we have NightCrawler. He's super duper fun. So NightCrawler has a very cool stat line of 2 thwart, 1 attack, 3 defense. And then he revolves around Panther. So it's a 0 cost upgrade. Whenever attached enemy attacks this card, declare NightCrawler as a defender without exhausting him. He has an extra boosted economy alter ego here. Search your deck for a copy of Banff, add to your hand. If there's no more Banff in your deck, you can't do anything with this, unfortunately. The Cutlass is very good. +1 attack, +1 defense, and retaliate 1. So buffing him up to a 2/4 with retaliate 1 is pretty insane. He has the prehensile tail, generate water resource, but only for events. So like in general, he is a very high tempo hero. You can play him like defensively, like ShadowCat, or you can play him more offensively as well. I think he's similar to Andrew, like pretty high tempo. Building out can definitely work for him as well, though. NightCrawler, in my opinion, is, I think I would say he's the best defense, pure defense hero, right? Like ShadowCat fits into that type of archetype, and Ghostfire can also play that way. Where's Ghostfire? Over here. But I think NightCrawler is the best version of them. But that's still not the strongest way to play, but it's the strongest way to play NightCrawler or like these type of heroes in general, because you want to be using this Banff here, right? So NightCrawler goes in stronger. You're still playing that type of way. I think he goes B plus actually for me. So yeah, I'm gonna put, actually, yeah, I think he's pretty solid, NightCrawler. We're gonna put him around here. Let's put him, oh yeah, around here. Either in front or behind Vision. Let's put him in front of Vision right there. I think that's actually good. I think he's actually kind of underrated, right? Yeah, I think he can handle himself against all expert scenarios pretty well. Pretty strong hero. Banff is just really good. It's adding to his economy as well, too. Next, we got Magneto here. Okay. I did used to think that Magneto was S tier. I put him behind Strange, I believe. But since I dropped Strange, I'm going to drop Magneto as well. I think he's still very good. He can definitely handle all expert scenarios. I actually used Magneto to take down the Galaxy's Most Wanted Expert campaign, which was tons of fun. We only lost to Nebula in that run. But we were able to redo it, you know, and get the win there. But yeah, I mean, he's super powerful. To just be able to take on that campaign, I think is a very high feat. Very well-rounded hero, 2 Thor, 2 attack, 2 defense, good economy. Even on turn 1, you just carve on top of your deck until you get a magnetic card, and you can add it to your hand. You get it ready with the Magneto's cape, rounding on his kick, giving him that on-demand ready. Yeah, Magneto is very strong. He can kind of do all things. He has some situational cards like with the Wrapped in Metal or the Electromagnetic Blast, because here, you only want to do this on minions. This, you only want to place if there's like attachments to get rid of. Otherwise, 2 for 3 threat removal is not the best. But whenever you get the kickers off here, it's like really good. And I often get like at least 1 like every single game, right? Often more than that. So yeah, you just have to wait for the opportunity for do that. So like he does kind of at times feel like it's dependent on luck. But despite that, I'm usually getting the effects off. And if you can't get them off, it's just really, really, really good. Like it's really good value if you can get him off. And yeah, I think he's a super solid hero, going at the top of A tier here. But I kicked him out of the S tier with Strange because we have another S tier hero here. If you guys watch me, you guys probably know which one I'm gonna be talking about. But yeah, we'll get to it whenever we get to it. So, all right, next we're moving on to Agents of Shield here, and we got Maria Hill. Okay, she's kind of controversial. So you may include a max number of shield supports in your deck from aspects other than your chosen aspect, up to 3 shield supports. So she has some versatility across aspects, and then she also gives all your allies a shield trait, which is very good for like feud agents, which she can include in every single build, because of her ability to include, you know, out of aspect shield supports. So yeah, very, very solid. The main card with her that's really good is going to be not even in her kit, but you guys all know the Pericles here. 6 cost support action, exhaust the Pericles, remove a supply counter, give a hero or villain a stats card of your choice, then give an ally or minion a stats card of your choice. This can definitely lock down games. So in terms of like, you know, expert difficulty, she like demolishes everything here. So she's like a killer for that. However, her thing is, against super duper high tempo, against heroic standard 2 expert 2, she cannot keep up with that tempo because of the builder that she requires on turn 1. So like none of these builder heroes here can really deal with this extremely insane high tempo if the villain has enough tempo there with multiple encounter cards, unless they're already set up. If you get lucky enough to set up there, then it's going to be possible, but you have to get lucky to set up against these guys here against that type of villain difficulty. So Maria, in my opinion, cannot set up that well to go in the S tier, but I think that she does go in the A tier though. I think that she is a solid hero. Going in the A tier, but some of these A tiers can handle this stuff better than Maria can. But I mean, she's still very good too. I think we'll put her in front of these build-out heroes right there. So as her RT action, you can exhaust her, search your deck for a shield support and add to your hand. So you can get, you know, like the Iliad or your Pericles immediately, you know, on turn 1. The problem is if the villain is star or steady, this does a lot less with that status card than it would do just canceling out their entire turn. So yeah, it kind of just depends. If it's worth it playing Justice card with your whole hand, you want to play more than Justice card, which is difficult because it's 6 costs. So like, you know, you kind of need to double anyways to pay for the card itself. So yeah, it just kind of depends how she works, but it depends on luck of the draw for sure in your first turns, and if you're able to get a good start with her. So yeah, for that reason, she's still above extra level, but not like tip top. Next, we have Nick Fury here, also in the Ages of Shield Wave. Nick Fury is also very good. So he has his suit form upgrade here on top of his identity card. So in the SOT form, whenever you attack, you can remove up to 3 threat to deal additional damage. And as in self suit, as a force interrupt, whenever the villain would attack you, they scheme instead. So this is like at times hard to manage, but you can mitigate the threat here with the ability. but not all of it, right? You place one threat from the activation instead on this card instead of on the main scheme. Only there's 5 or less threat on this card. So like if there's more than 5 threat here, because you're trying to build it out to do a bunch of damage with the assault suit, then like you have to put all of that on the main scheme. And it just depends on the luck of the draw on if you're able to mitigate enough threat. But usually you don't want to be too much in your stealth suit form, because then the villain will add too much threat that Nick can't handle. But whenever he's thwarting for 2. He is a very, very good thwarter. As a fortune threat, whenever you attack them, you must change your assault suit form. So it gives you like some suit flipping there. And then this gives him a ray to do more thwarting. So I really like him in Justice. Whenever you build out his thwart stat, I feel like he's very strong with that. He's got his eye patch camera. When any amount of threat we place on a scheme, you discard it. Place up to 3 of the threat on your suit form upgrade instead. So just great mitigation. You want more cards like this whenever you're building with Nick Fury to get all the mitigation there. He's got, this is arguably one of the best cancels along with Scarlet Witches. So this is on demand. It's a 0 cost upgrade. When you reveal a treachery, discard intelligence analysis, remove 1 threat from your suit form upgrade to cancel the effects of treachery and discard it. This can be used in alter ego and in hero form. It's only for treacheries, but still very, very good. Cancel the entire effects of treachery. And you also need to have at least 1 threat on your suit form upgrade. So yeah, still really good card. Really helps him out versatility wise. He's got good economy with his Fury's Watch here. It all depends on having threat to remove on your suit form upgrade to be able to generate stuff with that. So yeah, Nick is a solid hero. He's going to go here in the A tier. I'll put him in the bottom A tier, just in front of Deadpool, because Deadpool, I mean, we just kind of scale him here, but he can arguably be here, arguably be, you know, like down here, right? So, yeah, let's just put him in front of Deadpool. All right, next we have Shuri Black Panther here. She's also very, very good, very, very strong hero. I think that she's the perfected version of T'Challa, her brother. 2 Thor, 1 attack, 2 defense, but instead of playing like a Wakanda ever to trigger the specials of your Wakanda upgrades, you now, after she uses a basic power, can resolve a special of a Black Panther upgrade. So if you ready her each time she uses that basic power, you get to trigger those specials like constantly, which is really good. And you get them in play more easily because of her alter ability here. Action, exhaust Shuri, search your deck for a Black Panther or tech upgrade, play it, reducing its cost by 2. So like your Black Panther upgrades here, they're all 2 costs. So you can play free on turn 1, which is pretty bonkers to like just get that set up there, like right off the bat. So yeah, very, very good. And these like have really good effects as well. Yeah, you can trade them a lot. They have additional kickers if you want to discard them, but you can easily get them back with this ability right here. So yeah, Shuri's got some really cool things going on. She also got the Age of Dawn. This is probably one of my favorite cards with her. Action, you can use it in alter ego or hero form. Most cards like this are only usable in alter ego, but she can use it in hero form too. Exhaust it. Shuffle any identity-specific card from discard pile into your deck. This can be your double resources Vibranium. It can be your Queen Ramonda. It can be these things. Anything just back into your deck. Really, really crazy good. So yeah, her economy with the Elephant's Trunk is good too if you're building out for that. So yeah, very strong hero. She's also A tier. But where does she go? Her drawback. Let's see what her drawback is. Her drawback is that like there's a little bit of an anti-synergy between her alter ego ability and her hero ability. So if you exhaust on turn 1 to use this, you flip it to hero form, you're still exhausted. So you want to use stuff to ready up, like with ready to rumble or something like that. But it thinks that because the card you play, if you play a Black Panther upgrade, you can't trigger the special if you're exhausted here, because you want to use your basic activation to trigger that special there, you know? You can also play the attack events and Thor events to trigger the specials here as well. But yeah, I mean, that's not going to drop her too much. I think she's pretty dang powerful. I think she's pretty good. Where do we put Shuri, guys? She's so fun. She's probably more fun than she is strong, though. Let me think. I think we're gonna put her here, I think. Behind Miles, in front of Psylocke. Is that too high? Let's put her behind Psylocke, then. Yeah, that's where Shuri's gonna go. Alright. Next we got Silk. I'm a big fan of Silk too. Okay, so Silk, 1 Thor, 2 attack, 3 defense. The main thing is her thwarting, but she can get up to the 2 thwart with the organic webbing, and she'll be ready with this as well, similar to Spider-Ham. Except Spider-Ham goes up to 3 thwart, so of course he's much more powerful in the S tier. Silk's main thing is that she's kind of split thin, similar to Gambit. Where is Gambit? Right here. Because she's got so many upgrades and it all kind of do different things. This one's for whenever she defends. This one whenever she attacks. This one whenever she thwarts, right? So you always want this one down. But I find that whenever I'm playing Silk, I don't play all of these. I kind of play the one that I'm deck building for. So you don't want to focus on all of them. If you try to play all of them, you're not going to be using them all the time because they're only going to use a basic power, and you're not going to be basic thwarting, attacking, and defending every single turn unless you have like a bunch of readies. But yeah, so I think that with Silk, it's easier to just choose one route because all the other cards still work with that one route, right? Like if you're going a perfect defense type of build, you still want the organic weapon, you still want this, you still want your wall crawls and your swinging Silk kicks, right? If you're building her like more into thwarting with like the outwit here, it's the same thing. You still want like all these cards here. You still want Albert Moon, wall crawl, swinging Silk kicks. So even yeah, so she's a little bit different there. And I really like that with her action here. Discard a tuck card underneath her to draw 2 cards. Really good incentive to flip down to Alter Ego there. So yeah, she is also another very strong hero going up to A tier in my opinion. Let's see. I think she's stronger than Colossus. I think she's stronger than SPDR. Stronger than Iron Man. Okay, here. I think she's capped here. I think Miles is still more powerful. Yeah, I think Miles still is more powerful there. So she's gonna go around this area right here. But where do we put her, guys? That's the question. Let's put her in. Ooh, I think we put her in front of Silk. I mean, in front of Shuri. I think Shuri's better with the stats lock stuff, so against weaker villains. But I think Silk can handle herself a little bit better against the more difficult villains. Yeah, because yeah, this is just a super duper good card, right? Yeah. Okay, because you can swap and like do some encounter deck manipulation stuff. All right, next we have, speaking of encounter deck manipulation stuff, we have Falcon next. All right, you guys know how I feel about Falcon. I'm not the biggest Falcon fan. Now, I will say this, a lot of people will swear by Falcon and say he's like, I've heard several people say he's S tier, like one of the strongest heroes in the game. And some people have said that Air Recon is the best card in the game. I disagree. So, like, I think it's a really good card. Don't get me wrong. 1 cost upgrade, hero action exhaust, deal with player face on counter card, place a recon counter here. And as interrupt, you don't have to exhaust for this effect. When a player would be dealt in a counter card, you can remove a recon counter here instead. And in Falcon in hero form, during the player phase, you always get to see the top card of the encounter deck so you know what it is. So you can deal yourself a weak face down counter card to get another one later on. Similar to the problem that Silk and Gambit has, Falcon also has all these upgrades that he wants to play. He wants to play Air Recon, he wants to play the Barbarian Microwave, Talon Line, Draw Their Fire, Battlefield Awareness. He wants to play like all this stuff. They do all synergize with like different builds though, so he doesn't have the problem of Gambit down here. But Falcon's issue for me is that his board impact is not that good. He's very low impact on the board. So 2 for 3 threat removal, and you made his card attack on the counter deck to get an additional threat removal. Well, if this is like, 2 for like 5, it's pretty good. But if it's like 2 for 4, 2 for 3, it's not worth it. I mean, it's still worth, like, you still want to play it because you need that threat removal, but it's not enough to impact the lack of his economy and the lack of, like, his kit, in my opinion, is undertuned because of his ability to look at the top card of the encounter deck. So because of this, everything else is just undertuned. And I believe it's undertuned a little bit too much to make it counterbalance this ability to make it really, really powerful against high difficulty scenarios in true solo. I think that he's another hero that is a lot more powerful at higher player counts because he can defend for every single player with his Draw Their Fire. Even though this card does scale, I think that it's definitely worth how much it scales because he can defend infinitely for everybody, which is very, very good. But I think that in true solo he has to do everything himself, and he just does not have the breathing room because he's focusing on doing this stuff here, and his big breathing room is the Falcon's Flock here, right? This can remove bird counter to generate a energy resource for any aerial card, limited to once per card, not limited to once per phase or round with 5 counters. So when you're using this, his tempo is very, very good. The problem is whenever this is gone, he kind of it's kind of like you get a huge boost and you like kind of go slow again whenever this is gone. So this is like you really need this to like feel like his tempo is like very good, but without that, I feel like he's having difficulty managing everything else. I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like he is a little bit clunky because the problems that he creates for himself, it's hard to deal with. And if you get a bunch of 0 boost icon cards whenever you want a high boost, it feels really bad. Yeah, so yeah. He is not gonna go in the S tier for me. I think he's another C tier hero. He's very controversial. A lot of people agree with me, think that he's C tier. A lot of people think that he's like A tier or S tier. So yeah, just kind of like your experience with him. I have all my playthroughs with Falcon on the channel. If you guys want to see my playthroughs against like Magneto, against like whatever villain. So he's gonna go where in the C tier? I think he's better than Gambit. Yeah, I'm gonna put him here in front of Gambit and behind War Machine. All right, next we have the counterpart, Bucky Winter Soldier here. I think Bucky is very, very powerful. Bucky is, in my opinion, is he the best minion slayer? Oh, he was at the time of his release. I think he still is. I think that Bucky is still the best minion slayer. So as a response after you attack and defeat an enemy, you can remove 2 that from his scheme. And he has 2 Thor anyways, right? So he can Thor for 2, attack for 2, or defend for 2. He's got Sovereign Arm to generate a wall resource, but only for attack events. Arm block, super good to prevent when enemy attacks, do 3 damage to it. If you use the arm to pay for it, prevent all damage. Like pseudo backflip there, pretty good. Metal Punch, do 7 damage. Electro Discharge, 4 damage, and you get the stun. You don't really need the stun. This can confuse, but you don't really even need it, but it's really helpful against enemies that can be confused. So, yeah, and then the Winter Rifle, super duper good. Whenever he makes a base attack, exhaust the rifle, he gets +2 for attack. Attack has piercing and range. So, yeah, Winter Soldier is a very strong hero. He is my first time defeating Expert Ronin with a minion slaying deck, leading straight into minions, summoning minions, taking out the minions, and along with the minions with the overkill, taking out Expert Ronin. So he can definitely handle himself. Definitely an A tier level hero. Not S tier though, because the minion stuff is a little bit too difficult, and the stuns and confuses get a lot less good. So A tier for sure though. I think he's not cap level. The thing that's crazy about him is that he has to play with minions, but it doesn't matter. Even if the minions are like Kree militants, which are very powerful, he's still demolishing them. So Bucky goes above Miles here for me. Yeah, Bucky, very, very powerful. Okay, so next we got Tigra from Civil War. So we're moving over to the last wave here. And Tigra, arguably, is a better minion slayer than Bucky. I still think Bucky is a better minion slayer. I'll say this. I think that against weaker minions and against villains that can be stunned and confused, I think Tigra is better than Bucky in that case. But I think that overall, especially against steady enemies, and if you're facing, standard 2 on expert mode, Form of Foe gives all enemies steady, Tigra is weaker than Bucky. And even against like steady and stalwart villains, I think Tigra is not going to be as good either. And especially against elite minions that have access to like steady and stalwart, because a lot of those minions do have steady stalwart, or they say stuff like they can't be stunned, can't be confused. Tigra gets a lot worse. So Tigra is very good because her economy is just insane. So on the hunt, response after the player phase begins, draw a card for each minion engaged with you up to a max of 3. I'm often drawing 3 cards with this, and then she has like hand size of 8 now. And with this, you generate a physical resource for each minion engaged with you. So it's a triple resource generate on top of having 8 cards in hand. The thing is though, you want to hold those minions in front of you. And like I was saying before, her kit can easily do that with Moon Knight. Whenever he enters play, search the encounter deck and discard power for a minion, put it in play, engage with you, and stun and confuse the minion. Hunted, you as additional cost to play this upgrade, search the encounter deck and discard power for a minion and put it in play, engage with you. Attach Hunted to the minion, and then you stun the minion. So it's all about stunning and confusing the minions here for Tigra. So the minions can't be stunned or confused. That's where she'll drop, but they can be. She's very, very good. So I'm gonna put her also in front of Miles Morales here. I think she's better than everyone here. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that we have minion slayers so high, because like the old minion slayers like Valkyrie and Thor are very low, and like even Rocket to an extent, because with the Murder You, he's also kind of like slaying minions. They're usually weaker because of that condition where you need minions out in front of you to do anything. But these guys have so much benefits to like getting minions out that it mitigates the downside of having the minions like always attack you or something like that, right? They're just so good and they have so much extra effects. So yeah, these guys are on another level. I think that most of the time against weaker scenarios, Tiger will feel stronger than Bucky, but I think that Bucky handles himself better against stalwart steady, and the higher difficulties, which is why he's going to go a little bit higher here than Tigra. But you can definitely argue for each one being stronger than the other. But yeah, Tigra is very, very strong. Okay, next we have the other hero in the Civil War box. And we got Hulkling going on here. All right, guys. So I've mentioned it a few times. Hulkling, in my opinion, is the other S tier hero in the game, a new S tier hero. And because of that, we had to drop down some of these S tiers here because Hulkling, we don't want to have like a bloated S tier because these are like the cream of the crop, right? So, okay, I mentioned actually, I think Hulkling fits into that. So I mentioned it here. Usually what we're looking for S tier, I think Cyclops is like an outlier with his ability to include allies. Cable is also an outlier with his super high tempo with clearing side schemes. But most of the S tiers here, it's all about survivability and economy. And Hulkling is one of the best at survivability and economy. So for recovery, 13 hit points here. And then he's got 5 card hand size in alter ego and hero form. But, you know, only 5 card hand size in alter ego, but your action alter ego, search your deck and discard power for any shapeshift upgrade and add to your hand limit once around. So you're starting every single game with 6 cards in hand. And one of the 6 cards is a double resource here with the shapeshift upgrades. They're all doubles, but you can also play them, you know, for 2 cost upgrade and then get the effects here. So pretty bonkers to be able to do that. Yeah, very, very good economy. He has one of the best economies in the game. Alien Physiology is a 3 cost upgrade. Resource, generate a wild resource, or double wilds if you're paying for a Hulkling card, including his shapeshift upgrades. It's insane. He's also got the shapeshifter here. Search your deck and discard power for a shapeshift upgrade. Add to your hand. This can be essentially a double resource, right? That you can spend as a double. So you play this, get a double, and then spend the double for whatever you want. Pretty good there too. Yeah, he's just doing everything. He's got impersonation too. 2 cost event, remove 4 from a scheme. If it removes the last sword, you can change the alter ego form. Guys, I had a channel members poll asking my channel members which villain I should play with Hulkling with his precon deck, and then you guys voted for Ronin. So I faced standard Ronin with Hulkling with his precon, and I think his precon is not good at all. I think he's one of the worst precons. This protection precon is not, especially with the taunts against Ronin, it's not that good. We almost beat Ronin. Like, we were kind of like rushing him down almost, and we almost beat him, which is insane for a precon deck to be able to do that. Once you actually deck build with Hulkling, he's taking down every single scenario very consistently, very reliably. He is insane. He's super duper tanky. He's got good thwarting with his right form upgrades. He's got super duper good economy. He's got the alter ego access for the economy, thanks to the impersonation. He's got everything going on for him. He goes in S tier, guys. He's another S tier hero. And I don't say that lightly, but we have another S tier hero here. Okay, so I think he's stronger than Spider-Man. I don't know where he goes. I've not thought about this. I think Spider-Ham and Cable are still above Hulkling. Yeah, Hulkling's going to go around the Cyclops Bishop level. Let's figure this out. Is Hulkling better than Cyclops? Is Hulkling better than Cyclops? I don't know. I think Hulkling is better than Cyclops. Is Hulkling better than Bishop? I feel like I need more Bishop plays. Top 3 Hulkling? No, we're going to leave Bishop here top 3. I feel like Bishop's kind of a monster at times, right? Whenever he gets those resource cards in his hand. So we're going to put Hulkling here. But let me know down in the comments, guys. Do you guys think Hulkling is a top 3 hero in Marvel Champions? Yeah, I could definitely see the case. I need to play both of them more. But yeah, Hulkling for sure is S tier in my opinion. He like demolishes scenarios, these top tiers like no other. Hulkling is a crazy addition to the game of Marvel Champions. Alright, we're down to the last 2, the final 2 heroes now. Wonder Man and Hercules. Okay, so Wonder Man here, also from Civil War Wave. He's very good. I mean, he has pretty good flexibility too. There's a Rada here with Wonder Man where, so max 3 tuck cards here. After you play an event with the printed energy resource icon, you tuck the event from discard pile under that card, and then you heal damage from your identity. The Rada is that now the cost area has changed to then heal 1 damage. So even if you cannot heal, if you're at full health, you can still tuck cards. Before, the way that it's written, you cannot if you can't heal. Basically, the point is you can always tuck a card here as long as you have less than 3. If you are at 3 cards, you cannot tuck though. So There's a couple different ways to play him. You can either like build out his attack stat, because he gets +1 attack for each attack card underneath the Ionic Physiology. But if you make a base attack, you must, as a force response, discard all attack cards. So you can hold on to all attack cards to play stuff like Starstruck, do damage to enemy equal to your attack. If you overpaid, then you can stun, and then you can boost up your attack to have more effects off of that. Or you can just constantly recycle his cards, which is my personal favorite way to play Wonder Man. Just attacking high tempo every single time you hit the cap of 3, or even before then, you just attack. And you can include aspect cards from any aspect with the printed energy resource from your into your deck, as long as it's an event. So I like to have a bunch of 0-cost justice events, protection events like Defiance, just all those 0-cost events. Play a bunch every single turn, fully max out on here, and attack swinging for 4 every single turn. Super duper high tempo. He also wants to overpay too with the active altruism here. Remove 1 threat from a scheme, 2 additional threat for each overpay for this. And then you have Mr. Hollywood, probably the best, yeah, definitely the best card in his kit. Generate an energy resource to overpay for card, limit once per card, but not once per phase. And doesn't exhaust. So you can play active altruism here, overpay for free with the Mr. Hollywood card, so that this is a 0-cost event to remove 1 + 2 because you're overpaying 1. So it's 3 throw removal for 0 costs. That's the cheapest we've ever gotten. If you have all 3 in your hand, you play all 3, each one's doing 3 throw removal. That's entirely insane, because this can just constantly generate that every single time. And he has such low cost events in his kit. He's got a quadra resource with an energy siphon here, but you can easily, so when you spend this card, take up to 3 damage, generate an additional energy for each damage taken, but you can easily heal that back up with his Ionic Physiology here. So like, it's just really good synergy there. Wonder Man just popping off. Definitely can handle every scenario in the Gamora Champions on expert mode quite handily. He's going in A tier. But we're in A tier. Higher than there. Higher than there. Okay, here's where it gets like to the upper echelon. Oh man. Let me think. I feel like, I don't think he's Magneto level. I think he's in this class though. I think you can argue any spot for him to be in here. So with my free energy build, I feel like he's like pretty high up even, but like I gotta think about the other aspects, right? I think he's better than the Minion Slayers. I think we're gonna put him here in the A tier, very high, but not in this like super upper class here. Yeah, so just decent higher in the A tier, better than Winter Soldier, not as good as Storm and these guys. Yeah, all right, that's my spot for Wonder Man. All right, we're finally over to the last hero in Civil War. We have Hercules here. All right, what are my thoughts on Hercules? He's a hero that I think makes the biggest jump from solo to multiplayer. Storm makes a jump as well, but she only jumps out like 1 tier, right? She's like still decent, or still very good, I mean, in true solo. Hercules, I think, is serviceable in true solo, but there's just a lot of stuff he needs to deal with and a lot of RNG. So he begins the game with the labor deck. That's going to be this card, and this card. These 3 cards right here, and they're encounter cards. You shuffle them, and you randomly get one in play each time you trigger his action here. If you get this one, you get a super tough minion with at least 12 hit points. If you get this one, you get a side scheme with at least, usually it's going to be around 8 threat or more. So 8 to 9 threat, something like that. If you get this one, then you get Amadeus Cho in play, which is nice. But you have to defend 3 attacks from allies. Like attacks get redirected to your allies, and then you have to defend them with Hercules to remove a counter from there. So you got to defend 3 times to remove 3 counters. So this is kind of slow. So the thing with Hercules is, if you're facing a difficult villain and you don't know which one you're going to get, you can't really deck build and plan for one, and you can't mulligan your hand knowing which one you're going to get because you don't know which labor you're going to get first. So because of that, your first turn could be slow, and if it's slow and you need to be fast, it could ruin your entire game. Basically, once Hercules clears off a labor, he gets one of these randomized gifts in play, and he gets to draw 4 cards. That offsets the resource that you need to clear out the labors, and it's very, very powerful. But sometimes you can't clear out the labor in 1 turn, like this, or even these if you're not drawing to right cards with your mulligan. And your mulligan's not the most consistent thing because you don't know which one that you're getting. My favorite aspect for him is definitely going to be aggression, because you have the easiest tools to clear off all 3 of these in the most quick way possible. But even with then, like for this one, you have to always defend. you can't defend against Roland's attacks, especially without being built out, like on turn 1. It's really tough. And if you're dealing with these things here, these like side tasks, you can't really deal with the scenario as easily. So yeah, so in my opinion, in true solo, while the villain's also attacking you, you're trying to deal with these labors here. And that is very difficult for a 4 hand size hero to deal with. So Hercules, in my opinion, is a C tier hero. I don't think he's as bad as these heroes down here. But he is very good on standard, but will struggle against difficult expert scenarios and even like expert scenarios in general. That being said, though, I don't think I think he's actually pretty good. So we're actually gonna put him. I'm putting him here in the C tier actually. So I think he can actually hold his own. Um, and he really just needs to clear at least 1 labor, and then he really gets going. The problem is how big of a deficit is he gonna be in order to clear 1 labor? And sometimes it's a game-ending deficit. Sometimes it's not that bad. So yeah, it just kind of depends how he can clear out the labors. He gets a red whenever you clear the labor as well, so that's good too. Yeah, he's a 1 Thor, 3 attack, 2 defense stat line. Yeah, and then all of his cards scale the labors, like all of them except the Herc's Helm, which is the rough part, right? So, with like the gift of battle, 3 costs to do 5 damage is terrible, but reduce the cost by 1 for each gift you control. So once you clear off all 3 labors, you have all 3 gifts. This becomes free to play to do 5 damage, which is insane. But I need it early game before I have the gifts, so it's 3 for 5 whenever I need it the most. Same for the Thor event, it's 3 for 4. When I need the most, it's 3 for 4. When I need the least, because I'm already winning the game because I clear off 3 labors, it becomes 0 cost to remove 4 threat. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, I just wish that he had more cards that scale better whenever he did not have any gifts. And the best card for that is going to be Herc's Helm here. 0 cost upgrade. This one does not depend on how many gifts you have. Here, interrupt defense when the villain attacks, exhaust the helm, reduce the amount of damage the attack deals by 1. So this is like one of his best cards because on turn 1 it's going to be good, and it can draw attacks for your protect humanity here, right? Because Herc does not have to actually exhaust to defend to trigger this card here because it has that defense word. So if you use this ability and exhaust it, you are defending without exhausting, which means you are defending for the protect humanity right there. So yeah, that's kind of how Hercules works. Now I do want to add, for multiplayer though, Hercules jumps up more than any other hero in the game, jumping up 2 tiers, well 3 for this tier list here, from C tier all the way to A tier. I think that he's a very, very powerful hero, an A tier hero, if you have another player to babysit Hercules for like just 1 or 2 turns, right? Just deal with the threat, deal with the villain, and after Hercules can pop off, clear off 1 gift or 2 gifts, he will carry the rest of the game. Like, you cannot get into that big of a deficit in multiplayer that Hercules cannot carry you out of that situation, right? I played a 2-handed game, Hercules and Wonder Man, using the precon decks, which aren't the best, but I used the precon decks against expert Thanos. And all that we had to do was have Wonder Man babysit Hercules. And once Hercules got some gifts going, he just popped off, carried the game with the precon decks, just playing his identity-specific cards, thwarting, attacking, doing everything, demolishing Thanos. So yeah, he jumps way up at higher player counts whenever he can focus solely on the labors as it should be. So yeah, I do want to note that other players cannot help you deal with your labors, and your allies cannot help you deal with the labors as well. He must do it himself, which is very thematic. But yeah, once you get that off, he's very good. But the problem is, how big is the deficit going to be? In multiplayer, the deficit is never going to be big enough for where Hercules can't carry you out of it, because it's not going to take that many turns for him to clear us off, and the other players will focus on the main scheme and the villain. And in true solo, because Hercules is not focusing on that at all, the deficit might be too big. So yeah, in true solo, this is the true solo tier list. He's going to go here in front of Falcon, behind War Machine here in the C tier. And yeah, all right, guys, that is it for our list. We have that's every single hero. Okay, let's make this bigger here. All right, guys, we have our completed tier list. All right, can't believe we got it done. I have no clue how long that took. Hopefully it is maybe under 2 hours, something like that. I don't know, but yeah, all right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's look at our list here. We have the S tier. We have 6 heroes here in the S tier. Cable number 1, Spider-Man number 2, Bishop rounding out the top 3. But then Hulkling, Cyclops, and Spider-Man, I think, are still really good on that level. They can definitely handle these super difficult villains here. And yeah, none of these guys rely on stasis, on stuns, confused, toughs. They don't really mind that. They don't have kits that revolve around that. And once again, it's not bad to have a kit that revolves around that, but the way that Marvel Champions is kind of like heroes are designed, a hero is going to be undertuned if their cards revolve around stuns and confuse, right? Because part of the effects of the cards is to stun and confuse. So the cards will do less impact if you take out the stun and confuse effect of it. Generally, if a hero has a bunch of stuns and confuse in their kit, it means that the kit is weaker if you take out stuns and confuse against steady stalwart enemies. I hope that makes sense. Maybe that did not make sense, but yeah. So yeah, we have these heroes here, all very good with economy. Yeah, economy is the one. Yeah, that thing is tied for all of these heroes here. They all have exceptional economy, like top tier economy in the game. I think these guys, I might even say they are, I mean, I'm looking at the other heroes here, but I think I would say that these are the top 6 best economy heroes in Marvel Champions, with how their economies work. And the survivability is a common trend, although you can argue that Cyclops survivability is not the best. But I mean, he does have 10 hit points, 2 defense, just nothing else really going for the survivability part. But then he kind of makes up for that with his ability to include X-Men allies from any aspect. So yeah, that is, I'm fine with this S tier here. For the A tier here, my first tier is where we put Doctor Strange, finally down to the A tier. We finally did it here, guys. Maybe it's a hot take. Let me know down in comments. But I'm deflecting to Villain Theory, who also did not put Strange in his top tier. Magneto here also running out the top of the A tier. Crazy that Captain Marvel and Captain America are still so high up. I think they are definitely deserving of this spot. These are like core set wave 1 heroes here. Let's look at like these new heroes and like the wave 1 stuff too. I think we actually have a pretty solid mix here, right? Because like we have like newer heroes here. We have like Rogue, we got Gambit, we got Falcon, Hercules. We have a decent amount of the newer heroes, you know, down here. D tier is all like these undertuned heroes here though. So these are all pretty older heroes. And then I think you can kind of just, I should have just made the B tier 1 tier maybe. I thought there would be more here, but they ended up being a lot more A tiers. Maybe we should have split the A tier into 2 different tiers instead of the B tier here. But yeah, we have a solid B tier. Yeah, we have some newer heroes here with like Jubilee, with Iceman, with Domino. And then we have Thor moving up here, going up in the world. And then T'Challa's still like in the middle. But is he still in the middle anymore? Because maybe there's more like above him now. Yeah, Star-Lord and Deadpool, a little bit of a controversial one, like hard to rank, I mean. Because you can make the case for them to be S tier, make the case for them to be like lower in the B tier if you're like building out and not really leaning into how they want to play. But yeah, Scarlet Witch, I did not expect to drop her here, but yeah, my recent plays with her have not been the best. And yeah, all right, that's gonna round out our list here, guys. All right, yeah, I think I'm happy with this list. Yeah, I think we have a pretty even mix of like when heroes were released and stuff. So yeah, all right, guys, this is my hero tier list for True Solo. It's just my personal opinion. Let me know down in the comments which ones you agree with. Let me know which ones you disagree with and why. I hope you guys all like this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.